welcome to Geeking Out at the Tower podcast. I'm your host, Andrew, and today I'm joined by...
Ali,
Keith,
Kevin,
Wendel.
Awesome, and today we're going to be talking about our 2014 year-end review. But before that, let's get into some news. So, in sad news, unfortunately, the actress Christine Cavanaugh, voice actress, though this distinction doesn't matter, died at the age of 51. You might remember from such voices as Chucky from Rugrats, Chucky Finster, yes, or Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory, among many, many other roles. She'll be missed, and she will still live on in our hearts in all the great shows that she worked on. And in other news, Scarlett Johansson has been cast as the Major from Ghost in the Shell in DreamWorks' Ghost in the Shell. Apparently this has been a controversy going on because the whole term of whitewashing has come up, but I personally don't see it that way in this particular case because the core concept of Ghost in the Shell feels like it could work in any setting. Any thoughts on this?
who are producing it?
DreamWorks.
Oh, well then,
So this
whatever.
is a property that DreamWorks has had a hold on since Ghost in the Shell, Innocence 2, and they were the ones distributing that movie in America. So they're finally moving on making a live action movie, which was their initial plan the whole time for getting those rights. So I don't really see a big deal about this. And one of the main things is that people's consciousness go into dolls, into shells, and stuff like that. And the character Makoto Major does that constantly. So I don't know why everyone's freaking out. I don't get it personally. If you know the lore,
I feel like the largest misconception with the whole whitewashing is that people are forgetting the core precept that the original movie takes place in Hong Kong, and that the Major is, I think, Chinese in the first movie, and I think this is more likely to be a remake or a live action remake of the first movie, if anything, and not standalone complex, which a lot more people are familiar with. Thus, I think that's where a lot of it comes from. And I think of all the people that a lot of people have said, a lot of people have brought up Rinko Kikuchi from Pacific Rim, and amongst a lot of other Asian actresses, I think only one of which was Japanese, which was Rinko. The only person I agree with that maybe could have done it is Ming-Na Wen from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Stargate Universe, Chun-Li.
No.
I would personally, I would like to see, was it Kelly Hu?
Kelly Hu?
Yeah.
She could do it too.
She could do it, but I think, I don't think she would really want to do it. She hasn't been really active doing, a lot of stunt work and stuff like that, so.
But I think they're picking, of all times to do it, I think now is the best time. I think if they attempted this, a while back, I don't think it would have been as successful, given that Marvel's IPs are doing a really good job. A lot of the kind of that type of movies are coming out a lot, and it's seeing a lot of value, a lot of money coming out of that. I think right now is the best time to do it right
I
now.
don't know, because it's been a while since Ghost in the Shell was big.
Yeah, but it's going to be big, but the whole comic scene right now is booming, so all you have to do is this is a comic or an anime, and people are going to jump on it a lot more than it would have way back when.
It's been a never time when, Guardians of the Galaxy was big, and look at it now.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Actually, I think it's the right time now because a lot of these types of kind of movies have been coming out. There have been a lot of philosophical, existential crisis kind of movies with people coming out. I think CG technology has come to the point where it could actually be done believably.
Make sure it's night scenes still. Make sure it's night scenes.
Well, a lot of stuff happens, honestly, a lot of it happens in day and as much as at night.
But, it's usually smaller stuff, not big grand. No, never mind.
No, it honestly varies up. And a lot of the movie, what people forget, isn't really just a heavy action movie. It's also a very philosophical movie about life, being human, while still being in these robotic bodies.
And how the government's also involved, too.
I'm just going to wait for the trailer to pass judgment, because right now, all we know is they're making a movie, and they're casting one...
Well, I wouldn't have brought it up normally, but it's just there's been such this huge, look at Hollywood whitewashing everything again.
And another thing is that everyone's clamoring for more female...
representation.
More representation in movies as the main character in the story. Here we go. And then everyone's like, no, F this because she's not Asian. No, she's not Japanese. And it's well, if you're paying attention to what the source is, it's not necessarily a Japanese.
And I feel like a lot of the core concepts can be translated to an American as much of anywhere else, really. So
it'll be interesting because in the story, the whole team is an ethnic like mix as well. So we'll see how it goes. You're right. I think we'll know more once they actually push with the teaser and push with what's going to happen.
Yeah, but that's still probably at least a year or more away.
Yeah, we'll get back to it.
And didn't they say there's also supposed to be another Ghost in the Shell movie, animated movie, 2015? It was like
it's possible, but who knows?
A little teaser trailer going on.
Honestly, who knows? And anyway, there's been no director really attached to it yet. There's been no scripts. They haven't even cast the rest of it. But you know, I'll
Who's the guy with Firefly?
Nathan Fillion. Oh, you mean Joss Whedon?
Done. That's who it's going to be.
No, but he's tied up with Marvel.
He's still tied up with Marvel for a little bit, even though he's not the one directing. I think Age of Ultron. Not Age of Ultron.
I thought he. Okay. He's
not the one directing Infinity War 1 and 2. From what I hear. I get it.
Yeah.
And in other news, the Antman trailer dropped dropped last week during the Agent Carter premiere. Did anybody see that?
I saw not the show, but the trailer. I didn't see the teaser until someone posted it up. I didn't know there were separate things.
I saw the ant-sized teaser trailer, and I was super mad. I had never gotten so mad at a trailer because it was just a really small resolution, and I was like, even if ants could see this, they would even understand what was going on.
No, it was all obviously a ploy to get people also to get watching Agent Carter show, but
I was gonna say I saw it online on Marvel's own YouTube channel.
Well, that's where most people probably come.
I'm interested how strong this will be. The trailer's not winning me over. It's got its like Marvel feel real quick, but then like I don't know if it's gonna be as strong as the other ones that they've had. So right now I'm a little not on the positive side for that.
I like trailer, and I think they're going more comedy side than
because Paul Rudd.
Yeah. Well, the trailer does not convey that.
It sort of did. He was like, can I change the name? Do I have to wear the outfit?
There was only 2 lines, but most of the trailer is very somber. The music is very somber.
But the most part
that's mostly marketing, I think.
And then the most part of it, you have what's the actor's name?
Paul Rudd?
No,
the other one.
The guy playing Hank Pym.
I forget.
Spartacus's son. Anywho, so he's like doing the big narration of the whole thing, and then when you get to the end of it, Paul Rudd's like, "What?" Like he's just like, "This sounds very ridiculous."
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah. And I thought it was cool that they get another like crazy big name Oscar award winning older guy to be in this movie, like how they did the Winter Soldier.
Anthony
they got
Hopkins.
No. In the Winter Soldier, they got Robert Redford.
Oh yes.
So like another like big name guy like that, so you can kind of pull in like the older crowd basically. Like, oh, I remember him. He's doing another movie. And I just thought I really liked the small act sections when they were showing that. To me, it made me think of like those old 1940s, 1950s matinee movies a bit.
I mean, I don't know why anyone's worried. It's
a Marvel movie.
It's a Marvel movie. We're not gonna get any Green Lantern type shit.
No, I don't think so. Honestly, how I put it, the movie finished wrapping, like it wrapped up like December 5th, from what I hear. And I feel like this trailer is like we need something for that comes up. So it's like they needed something for Agent Carter, or they just needed something really quick to get out there because this is the movie that everyone knows there's issues. And I think the marketing department went, well, let's just throw a whole bunch of stuff together, like that Iron Man 2 trailer or that other trailer where we'll just put all the serious stuff because they don't know what the movie maybe be like yet.
Because this is the next one, right? There's no other one.
This is the end of Phase 2.
Okay.
This ends Phase 2.
I would have liked to see Edgar Wright's original vision of what it was, but you know, that's not
now you got to take into account he planned that movie before there was even a Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think why he left is because he couldn't fit it in.
Yeah.
And so
then it would have been another like Iron Man 2 kind of thing, or Spider-Man 3 kind of thing.
Honestly, I think why they did it is he might not have been able to meet deadlines because he puts a lot of detail into his things, which is great. But I think Scott Pilgrim took it somewhat odd, like 2 years of filming before they even released it, like piecemeal together.
Okay.
From what I hear, from what I remember seeing, and maybe in some of the special features. So,
well, I do remember that Scott Pilgrim the movie came out before the end of Scott Pilgrim the book.
Yeah. No, they were timed at the same. They timed at the same time, so they filmed multiple endings because they didn't know who was done. Yeah. But honestly, my opinions are, I think it's gonna be a good movie regardless. It is done. It's Marvel. It fits into the timeline. I think it'll be interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. So join us in our next segment where we'll be geeking around.
Hey, this is Anthony Bowling, voices of such characters as Yuka in Fairy Tail, Ukyo in Samurai 7, and Alciel in The Devil is a Part-Timer, along with many, many more. And right now you are listening to Geeking Out at the Tower podcast.
And we're back, and this is the Geeking Around segment where we talk about things geeky or otherwise going around in the geekosphere. So Keith, what have you been up to?
So after people said Shadows of Mordor was good, specifically Seb, I tried the game, and it is not for me. It's very repetitive, and like I could do the stealth missions and stab people, but I got really bored quickly, and I can't do the archery thing. Like I tried it like 5 times, and I was like, not for me. Not really crazy about it.
How far into it are you?
I played like 5 hours.
And have you encountered like one of the extra characters and stuff, and tried to like get information out of them? And do all
I
that
stuck
crazy
my
stuff?
hand on their head and stole information. I rescued the slave guy that I had to rescue. I killed the slaver. I did missions.
Have you gotten to one that you?
Spoiler.
Have you gotten to one that you haven't been able to kill?
There was an archer in a fort that I couldn't get to because there was like a million people
But was
walking
he-
his way. But he was just like some random captain that was level 12 or something.
And then you level up after he killed you or anything like
No,
that?
I didn't get to him. Some other guy killed me.
Oh, okay.
That's my way to get
And then that guy level up after?
Yeah, of course he leveled up. And then I
Okay.
killed that guy, but I still couldn't get to the guy farther in. Kept
Because-
tripping the alarm. And I played Smash Brothers for the Wii U. I really liked it. My character Shulk, he's amazing, minus the fact that he has no ranged attacks.
Yeah, but he has that good old counter. Most of the swordsmen don't have range
Yeah,
attacks.
his counter's pretty good. Not super crazy about. I'm not good at the half attacks, like where you push slightly forward, not all the way forward and cut.
I honestly don't know what you're talking
because
about.
there's like the little ones. There's like the hard ones, and then there's like the little.
Are you just talking about regular smash attacks?
No,
versus...
regular attacks.
Oh, okay.
But like there's like.
I think there's one that
There's
you just...
one that you go all the way, and then there's one that you go like halfway. And I'm shit at doing the halfway ones. I'm still working on it.
I don't play shock, so I guess I don't know.
No, it's for every character. They have like 2 attacks. I don't know how to explain.
Maybe it's like a regular attack, and then the other one is like the big
Like
smash
there's the
attack.
standstill one,
Uh-huh.
then there's little forward attack ones that are fast, and then there's the smasher ones.
Yeah, where you like...
All the same button.
Where you're like, you do the opposite direction, press forward, and...
No, just
Or at the same
forward.
time.
Yeah.
Ali, are you able to confirm this?
Confirm.
Okay.
And I'm just having trouble doing it on the remote that I have. And you can't do it on the Wii remote, so you have to have an actual pad thing. But other than that, I really like Smash. I unlocked most of the characters. I'm shit online, but that's okay.
Are you playing with the Wiimote or with your 3DS?
I have I think it's the Nokia or Nori.
He's a Hori pad.
Hori pad. So I have the Yoshi one.
Oh, the ones those also sold out. Apparently those are pretty decent to play with.
Yeah, they're not bad. I feel like there's a little bit of a lag because sometimes I press buttons and the move doesn't come out when I want it to. It's slightly off, but maybe it's just that I'm just shit and I can't ever get my counter up when I want it to.
Have you tried it with the 3DS?
I have the 3DS game, so I played it on the 3DS.
Okay, I was just curious.
But
like, if you,
I haven't
I wouldn't-
compared right over the two.
Yeah, if you have the Hori pad, I wouldn't use the 3DS.
Basically the holidays with the family for the most part. Played some board games as well. Like Cards Against Humanity, obviously. Catan. Was there another one? There's a board game I got for the holidays.
Red Dragon's in.
Yeah, Red Dragon's in. I like the concept. Feel like you've got all the guys at the bar trying to gamble, trying to drink, and like the whole concept is like trying to see who gets you drunk and if you can steal their money from it. So yeah, very simple game, really, and I enjoyed it actually, and probably looking to getting the expansions for them. I got more of my holiday Cards Against Humanity cards as well, and apparently I'm the proud owner of a section of Hawaii 2. I have no idea what that's about though. But
You can always look it up.
It came with the whole Cards Against Humanity bundle thing that they were doing over the holidays. Other than that, I was actually just relaxing at home for the most part, and I ended up playing, since I had one of my cousins over, we decided to start playing Civilization Revolution off the 360 that I had, and I just kind of continued playing that for the most part over the holidays. That's about it.
What I did was basically relive 2013 and finished Attack on Titan.
It took you long enough.
Well, I didn't even start. I just started now and I finally got through it. I really liked it a lot, but I kind of spoiled myself by Googling a character. Word of note, if you're going to watch Attack on Titan and you haven't seen it yet, do not Google anything about this show.
Word of note, if you're watching a TV show, do not Google anything about a TV show.
Where do they end though?
Oh, they end right after the
Spoilers.
Expedition Beyond the Wall.
Right before the expedition.
Okay, they
After
reveal...
the attack?
Yeah, they reveal who the female Titan is.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's pretty much as far as
not
they
the
got.
rest.
Not the rest. But then there's a new season coming out, I think either later this year or early next year.
Actually, if it hasn't already come out, isn't there a movie as well?
There's a live action movie, but that's just mostly
No,
gonna be the first part.
not a live action, an anime movie that's supposed to
Like an OVA?
yeah.
I would assume it's just going to be recapping stuff or
It's
shortening
honestly.
Because I know they had a few like extra episodes, kind of just like talking about how like their experiences during the training. But I thought there was supposed to be a story like sort of right after.
Those things,
So they're not that far.
they're a decent amount of way, but they're not that far.
I think there was 4 like little short OVAs, and one of them is explaining why they go on expeditions to capture Titans, and then another one that explains Levi's backstory and stuff. And so there's supposed to be a sequel to that, but I think that's coming out later this year or something like that.
So
So those are like 2 extra ones I actually
They're basically
watched.
Ava-ing the heck out of this because that's
From
all
the
they
get-go.
can do.
From the get-go,
Well,
at least.
yeah, because there's like all these side like Attack on Titan High School and
Yeah, which
Attack
is
on
really
Titan
ridiculous.
Before the Wall,
Yeah.
or the early years, things like that.
I
so.
mean, I like the show, but I don't think I have that kind of, oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever, because I'm old, and I'm seeing a bunch of other stuff in there, like Guyver.
No, a lot of it is that-
that's just me. I'm drawing comparisons, but...
It's not. I think it's a lot like it's not the best show ever. I think what a lot of people seeing is that people have gotten so bogged down by the moification of anime that when something like that's
Yes.
this gory, this bloody, this
Yeah, it's just
dark
very serious,
comes out,
yeah.
people are like, "Oh, anime doesn't suck anymore." But it's because people have only been shown all the moe stuff. But
Yeah.
there is a lot of other stuff that wasn't moe that was out there. But
Kill a Kill.
Yeah, I was enjoying it, but I stopped after the first male Titan.
I mean, I think it's. I'm
And
reading
then
the
I was
manga.
like, I don't really.
I think it started off
I didn't
with-
need to see anything past that. I felt I was like, I'm done. There's other things I'd rather watch.
I do find the world is very interesting, and I want to learn more about it, but I wasn't like frothing at the mouth. But then again, I watched it a year late.
Yeah,
so-
did you watch the Blu-ray version or did you watch like DVD? Like you didn't watch the original airing.
Not
per
the
se.
original airing,
You didn't
no.
watch it on like Crunchyroll or something, right?
No.
So you found like a DVD or Blu-ray copy because
Yeah.
the animation's been fixed up because the original
Oh,
animation.
because I was watching it when it came out. And
Yeah,
like,
'cause,
and the hype was going way higher than where I was, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch it.
No,
anymore.
a lot of that's not my point. My point is that a lot of
was
times...
censored?
No. My point is that the animation, they fix a lot of it after for the DVD and Blu-ray releases.
Okay.
So, like, if you look... Like, sometimes you can see comparisons and there's...
So like what's going on with Sailor Moon Crystal, basically? Like when they have the first airing is one way, and then they kind of fix it up. They
Yeah.
make it a lot better for...
Well, they always do that with the DVD because they have more time to work on it, or they got another team to work on it because a lot of it has to be released early. That's what I'm saying. So you probably got a very good version animation-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some really good animation sequences in it as well, but other than that, there's a lot of very bland scenes.
Yeah.
Sometimes the animation quality is not that great in that show.
And then I also did something that's even way more old school. I was trying to finish up Conan on PS3, which was one of the first launch titles for that generation, like 360 PS3 games. So it looks really, really bad. It's basically kind of like similar to God of War, but it's just set in the Conan universe. And Conan's voiced by Ron Perlman and stuff like that. And I still find it's a fun game. It's like it looks really silly, but I think it's really fun and enjoyable and just, mindless fun to have.
I played Tales of Xilia for the PS3.
1 or 2.
Okay.
Tales of Xilia 1 for the PS3 because I was bored. It's alright. I mean, I haven't played any other recent Tales games, so I don't know what to tell you.
Is it like similar to like Final Fantasy? I've never played any of the Tales.
No, this has free, when you go into, you have battles where you see enemies on the map, so you like run into them, and then
like
you have free roam.
Ni no Kuni. It's like Ni no Kuni, but he wouldn't know that either.
It's like Secret
Star
of
Ocean.
Mana.
Okay.
Secret
Yeah.
of Mana, Star Ocean. It's like a very action oriented RPG.
Yeah, like you have your basic attacks like on like one button, and then like special attacks on.
Okay, yeah.
That's the one with the conductor, right?
And this isn't actually, it's one of these, it's the Tales game of RPGs you can kind of play with multiple people if you wanted to. 'Cause
Yeah,
I think
you could
each
switch
person
your-
could get...
You can switch your main character out, so you could play different characters.
No, I'm saying like multiple people can play the same RPG. So one person will just do all the random stuff, but in battles, like everyone can control an individual character.
Yeah,
Because I think I played
yes.
one of the Tales games where I was going through the story, but when it came to a battle, like 3 or 4 people could all participate in the battle independently instead of the AI.
How fun was that?
It was pretty fun actually.
And people were coordinated?
It didn't really matter.
Oh, okay.
It was the early stages of the game. It was just really fun to see everyone
Acts
play.
at the same time.
Just like do whatever you want.
Yeah, basically a lot of attacking, or if you're magic using. Nothing really techy, no boss glasses.
I'm also watching Code Geass, the
Again?
dub. Again, well, I didn't watch the dub.
You didn't watch the dub the first time? I thought you did.
I thought I did too. I might have watched like a couple of episodes, but I'm starting to watch it again because we were talking about Code Geass. So okay, let me watch Code Geass again.
A potential future episode. But the dub is actually not that bad.
And yeah, it's alright. I like it.
Can you pass me that when you're done? Because I haven't watched any of Code Geass.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, really.
I actually have the Japanese.
I haven't watched any of it either.
Nice, so neither did I.
God, it's so good.
It's actually a really good anime.
Okay, and like I don't watch any anime.
Rarely.
Or rarely, and I really like Code Geass.
It's really well done. At least the first season. The second season is your mileage may vary kind of
I'm
season.
Akame. No, you're not. I am.
No, but season 1 is pretty good. It has a pretty like heavy ending, and
I like it.
I enjoyed it a lot.
I would enjoy watching it again.
Yeah.
Dubbed.
Yeah, it's probably something for a future episode. We're probably gonna have an episode.
Let's
about
actually
that.
try the dub version.
They're about equal. They're about on par, in my opinion.
It's dubbed alright. Take it from someone who doesn't watch a lot of anime. Watch Code Geass.
What I've been doing has been watching The Librarians. It's an old, I think, TNT movie series. Like there was like a trilogy of movies in the early 2000s to like I think a few years ago. The Metropolitan Library in New York has a basement or a subdimension where they have all these artifacts that come from history. So if you've seen Warehouse 13, it's a lot like that. And so there is a librarian who goes around solving mysteries, collecting the artifacts, protecting the world from major danger. So The Librarians is a TV show which picks up several years later. It brings in a whole new set of characters, and they basically, the first episode or two-part episode is them going around. The original main character from the original Librarian movie trilogy, they go around, they're trying to find the sword in the stone to bring magic back into the world, and then at the end of it, he basically goes off to go do this like overarching mission that'll probably take him away because he's a producer, he has other shows he's working on, and it leaves you with like your three main characters who are people who were called in for the original interview to become the librarian but never showed up. And so they go around, they try to solve different problems coming up. So in like the first real episode, they go around into the maze, the Minotaur's maze, the Minotaur's labyrinth, yeah. So they have to deal with that. In another episode, they deal with a town where fairy tales are coming to life from a book that steals the energy from the listener. And I think I just saw the last episode, and they go to a science fair where a character is basically weaponized magic in technology form, where they basically creates a secret coven with the number 3 of different magic. So a bunch of science students are using the app, and at the end, so it grants people's wishes and bad things start happening. So they have to investigate that. I think it's a mid-season replacement kind of show. It's on TNT. I think it's gonna be like 10 episodes, and basically John Larroquette's on it as well. Ooh. So there's a little cloud there. It's a lot of fun. It's very much like very classic sci-fi / fantasy that I was looking for a few weeks ago. It fills in that void. It's really fun. It's really classic. It's it knows how campy it is, but it's not playing up on that fact too heavily either. So it's not like overly campy. So it's a really fun show. I also saw Night at the Museum.
Oh, you poor
the end of the trilogy. It's as good as the first one. I haven't seen the second one, but I haven't heard good things about the second one. But it's basically like the first one. It's a movie you kind of go to. It's not the best movie. If they cut out maybe a bit of the joke, like the potty humor, it would be an actually good, very good family movie. But because of all the potty humor, it like brings it down a step. But this one, they basically go to London because there's a problem with the device that makes everyone come to life at night. They meet Lancelot, and he's hilarious. They meet what is it? I don't know. They just go. Oh, Rebel Wilson's in it. She plays a security guard over there. It's basically the end cap to the trilogy. It's your typical movie. It's kind of fun. Don't go in expecting a masterpiece.
Right.
And there's a really great cameo by an actor in it that I don't want to spoil, because when it happens, you're just like, what? And it's really well done. Other than that, I'd say wait until it's on DVD. I saw it because a few friends were seeing it, but it's a much more enjoyable movie than I thought I would have fun with. And that's amongst a million things I've been doing. So join us in the next segment, where we'll be starting our 2014 year-end review with video games, music, literature, and viral videos.
This is Austin St. John. I played Jason, the original Red Ranger from television's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Right now, I am geeking out at the Tower Podcast. Check it out, man. It's Morphin' time.
And we're back, and in this segment we'll be starting the 2014 year in review. This has been broken up into multiple segments. The first segment we'll be discussing video games, literature, music, and viral videos from the year 2014, that being our limiting factor. Let's start with video games. And Wendel, what is your favorite video game of 2014?
My favorite game for 2014 was a 3DS title called Bravely Default.
Yay!
Why? Because I actually played through the whole game, got through both endings, and I really enjoyed.
You didn't get the secret third ending?
There's no secret third ending.
I know, I'm just messing.
I know. I really enjoyed the story, the little mini dialogues between the characters. I actually felt for the characters. I actually liked them.
Unacceptable!
I really I just enjoyed the whole ride all the way through, and I enjoyed the freedom you had to once you got over your little fear of making and mixing combos and stuff like that, to get it down packed. And it was really fun, and I liked what they did towards the end with all your gathered friends that you streak past along the way and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool, and it was very fun to play old school JRPG that was made by Square Enix. That was originally going to be a Final Fantasy game, and then they kind of took that away from it, but the game still shone all the way through towards the end to me. I know there was a big lull in the middle, but I'm the kind of person that grinds. I've been playing through Final Fantasy 1 on the NES back in the day, and that's what I used to do.
It's not an easy feat.
It's not an easy feat. I would find that little spot in one of the continents and grind back and forth, so it's not even a big deal to me personally. So I enjoyed that game, and that was my game of the year.
It was a fun game. I got, I think, up to the 4th crystal before I kind of gave up, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Other games came out. I have to go back and finish it off because I feel like I at least should get
It was
that.
a long game, but it was a very good 3DS title.
I really liked the first 5 chapters. Like Wendell, I did them all, including the alternate ending. And after chapter 5, I was like, it was sort of repeat boring.
Yeah, there's a lot of repeat, and that's when it was getting
But
boring.
I do like the super ending.
I did not finish it. I did only get one of the endings just because I was like, fuck it. What happens if I do this? No, I like that they did the whole design of it was really nice. I like how the title tells you something afterwards. Little nitpicks everywhere. So really, really small little points. It's really good. I liked.
Yeah, so that was my
game of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
Your favorite game? Keeping along this 3DS, because it's been a good year for the 3DS in terms of game titles, I'm going to pick Smash Bros. 3DS because they took something that I enjoyed playing, Super Smash Brothers, and made it portable. Even though that the 3DS isn't exactly the best console to play it on, it was still a lot of fun. And once you map out the buttons that you feel comfortable with, it works, I think, to your advantage. And I've played with the 3DS on the Wii U console because there wasn't enough controllers. And between that and a Wiimote,
3DS
the 3DS is a way better controller. I actually took the Wiimote as a handicap in certain cases. But the Wiimote is a much more, I think I was more comfortable with it because I had played it for so long versus the Pro Pad or the Game Pro Pad. But it's a lot of fun. They brought in a whole bunch of new characters. They did get rid of Ice Climbers, which was one of my favorites, and Lucas, also another one that I like. It was a lot of fun. It stayed true to its roots, and you know what? I could take it wherever, so I didn't have to wait till I found 4 people to play. I can play it on the go, and then I could randomly meet people. So I enjoyed Smash Bros. 3DS.
Yeah, I think it was smart that they put it on the 3DS. I think that definitely got people really oh, look at that.
Well, it's a system seller, right?
Yeah.
It's a system seller, and you need multiplayer games for the 3DS. Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I liked it on the 3DS. I would also say, though, I think they should have spaced out Wii U and 3DS launches because they're too close together.
That's true. That might have been to their detriment, but people really, really wanted that Wii U title, and they needed to launch it as soon as possible because the Wii U has just been
Well,
barren.
they had to launch it before the Christmas season too.
Yeah.
If I remember right, wasn't one pushed back, or one of the two were pushed back? No?
Everything was pushed back.
Yeah, everything.
okay.
It was supposed to, I think they were all supposed to come out even earlier than that. But
Yeah, I think the Wii U one was supposed to come out the year before, at the end of the year.
They were both supposed to come out the year before.
Yeah, because
I know it got pushed
but
back.
yeah, but then it got pushed back. Is what I'm saying.
No, but I think it was always going to be a staggered release because if you release them at the same time,
People are just not going to buy
the
one.
3DS or the other, the staggered release made more sense. I think maybe they originally thought the 3DS would come out much earlier than the Wii one, but they had to get that Wii U one out before the Christmas season because that's when all the parents of kids would go out and buy the game / buy the system at the same time because it's that time of the year they plan for it.
One that I enjoyed just because it gave me a lot more nostalgia feel was Shovel Knight. Reminded me of Mega Man, reminded me of Castlevania, reminded me of the overworld more like Super Mario 3. The design was great, getting that NES feel, but really pushing what you can do now as what you couldn't do before, and really like extending how like you can use the villains, how the abilities you can have, how you can translate a simple pixel art and game and translate it to such great feelings, such a great story too. Simple story too inside worked really well, and a ridiculous like weapon, like oh yeah, it's like really a shovel. It's practical, it makes sense, it works really well with the whole story as well. So it was really I liked it. I liked how it progressed. I liked how it got developed. It was in one of the Kickstarter games that really delivered. Like, they really got a lot of money for it, and they really delivered. And this is one of those titles that is showing how Kickstarter is pushing a lot of stuff that people want, as opposed to a lot of the weird Kickstarter stuff that's not working as well, or even from not publishers, but from known people that they're not even doing as well. And then you get something like Shovel Knight, and you're like, holy shit.
What system did you play it on?
I played it off the Steam.
So how long is the game? Because it's on my backlog.
It's not a long game. You could definitely finish it, I think, in like 3 or 4 hours.
Then I'll definitely. I didn't know how long.
It's not a long game. Like the overworld's very similar to Mario 3, but very small. Like I say Mega Man-esque as well, because like you have to beat like a few people, and then it expands the world, and then you get a few more, and it expands the world more. You get different armors, you get different abilities that unlock.
They got like the pogo stick gameplay.
Yeah, there we go. DuckTales type of mechanisms as well. All the abilities kind of, you can go back and try to find stuff again.
Metroidvania kind of stuff. Yeah. Like you go back and you explore.
If anything,
and then
I think
DuckTales again, all the monsters are back.
Yeah.
I think DuckTales is actually a better comparison game wise, play wise, because like you can go like in DuckTales you were able to navigate all over the place and try to find the secrets and whatever. It played very similar to that, where you can go one way, find the secrets, and then continue back and go forward. And a lot of little like tiny things you could do, like your safe spot, you could destroy it and gain money out of it, but if you die, you're going all the way to the previous one.
Yeah, this is the only game I actually kickstarted, and I'm sad that I didn't kickstart for more money, because I think I'd rather prefer it on console than computer. But it's a good game, everyone should get it.
Yeah, I got it when the big Steam sale happened, so can't wait to play it.
So I think they've ported some of them into consoles.
It's
now?
on Wii U, because my friend has it.
It's on Wii U. It's on everything right now, actually.
It's just DLC's on its way.
Yeah, I know it's supposed to be coming to the Vita soon, and at PSN, and et cetera, et cetera.
But it's worth it. If it does come out, if it's not already been on the consoles, it's definitely worth.
So, I think my favorite game of the year, even though I didn't beat it because I'm a shit gamer, was Dark Souls 2.
Oh, I was gonna say Shadows of Mordor.
yeah, that wasn't a favorite game of mine.
Doesn't sound like it.
But yeah, Dark Souls 2 figures same as Dark Souls and Demon Souls. It's a hard game, which I liked, although this one was, I find, easier than the other two. I actually liked the bosses that I fought. I chose the regular warrior guys, Smash, and I tried a priest, and I tried a sorcerer. They're all fun. I'm just not very good at dodging and rolling.
Did you beat it?
No.
Okay.
Not even close.
Did you roll off cliffs?
I rolled off cliffs, jumped off cliffs, I got smashed to smithereens by overhead attacks more times than I can count, but I put in way more hours into this game than any other game that I played this year, and I don't mind restarting it over and over again.
That's good. It's I think, a roguelike kind of game, sort of.
No, because roguelike would be, you would die, and you would have to start a new character.
Oh, okay. That
would be roguelike.
It's a game for people who like to grind, basically.
Not so much grind, because you could just constantly go forward. Like, you could start at one map, and if you're good, go as long as you go in the right order-ish, or you don't have to, you could go to the end without ever repeating the same zone. So you don't have to grind. It's just to get good, and like different bosses have different attack patterns, and if you don't know those attack patterns, sometimes you just get effed. And if you're like me, and you don't really pick up on attack patterns very quickly, like 20 times after a boss, you're like, I'm gonna put this aside for a week or two.
I know the feeling. Ali?
So my pick for favorite game of mine for the year is going to make a friend of ours very, very happy, Mr. David. My pick is Destiny. It was not the best game this year, but it was the game I put the most time into and that I probably had the most fun with for that limited 3 or 4 weeks we played.
We did a lot of raiding, and you were raiding a lot more with other friends. It was co-op.
It was fun. It was a good. Well, it started off. We tried to play co-op, but then everyone was playing at different times. You had like Borderland-esque gameplay, but none of the Borderland-esque loot system that we all expected. The multiplayer. So you had the single/co-op, whatever, you know, the overworld where you were like getting gear and leveling up to 20 via missions. The campaign. And then you had the multiplayer, which wasn't affected by your levels or your gear, and it was more Call of Duty-esque gameplay. So
we had a great dance party on that tree.
And we had dance parties on the tree in the main zone. I mean, and so you had the campaign, the multiplayer, and then you had endgame content where Bungie said that's where like all the fun was at, endgame, where we were trying to raid and stuff. And so that was fun to try to get through the first time, and then, you know, how it is with MMOs, like it gets repetitive as you have to do it every week, etc., etc. But it got boring really quick because there wasn't enough content.
Well, they plan to release content over the next 10 years? Probably to get reduced to 5 at the rate they're going?
So, like, there was a big patch in December, I think. DLC. There was DLC in December.
And I think we all stopped playing before that patch hit.
We all stopped playing way before that hit. But I heard it's you know, it's fun. So I don't know if I'm ever gonna go back. I actually bought the DLC, pre-bought it. So I'm a dummy. But Destiny, definitely, for the time I put in, I think I had a lot of fun with that game.
And like, I went from PS3 to PS4 because I bought a PS4 in the time, and the graphic improvements, like, I was like, yo, shit, this is
a different game.
I was like, this is way more good looking. I was like, I'm glad for the PS4 just to see like the difference in the two games because they worked at it.
Yeah, and like for the multiplayer, which was similar to when like our time when we were playing full teams in COD.
Oh yeah,
I think it was way more fun when you had a full team in Destiny because it's you and your friends all blabbing and you're playing against complete strangers, and when you win, it feels so much better. And even when you do lose,
you remember when we used to play COD with like all full 2 teams of all of us?
Yeah,
just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just so much fun over voice chat, you know.
Unless you're me, because then you're just cannon fodder, right? It's like, yo, Keith, you just run forward so we know where they're at. And I'm like, okay, whee!
So we had a lot of fun with Destiny.
I'm gonna throw out Shadow of Mordor for Seb since he's not here. Since he's not here to defend it for himself, but he mentioned that as his favorite game of 2014. And next up in our list will be music. My favorite song of 2014 is Everything is Awesome by Tegan and Sarah and the Lonely Island Crew. It's a really fun, high energetic song that if you hear it out of context works as just a good fun pop song, but in the context of the movie, as I'll be probably discussing later, it's just a very, very subversive song as well. It's a lot of fun. It's very silly. The rhyming is crazy, and I just enjoyed it a lot. It's very high energy, and when it came on at my friend's wedding, everybody basically got up and sang along to it like crazy.
Nerds.
I mean, well, it was at the wedding. Basically,
no, but right on.
No, it was a wedding. I was dancing around, having a lot of fun. I'm like, a good like 4 or 5 songs that I was singing and dancing along to came up, and I was about to go take a break.
So you were that black guy.
Yes.
Okay, us.
Yes. And the moment I go to sit my butt down, Everything is Awesome comes out. I'm like, ooh, oh my god! And I just got up and ran into the dance sequence because it was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun song, and I really enjoyed it.
Man, I can listen to this all day. 8.5 hours.
You really can, actually. And every time I sing along to it too. So
I find that the nerd comment is kind of funny, you know, because we're recording a nerd podcast.
Yeah, I know. I remember at a friend of mine's wedding, they were doing their vows, and one of them, they were talking about how they first met and how they connected, and they were watching Lost, and I was fighting so hard to not yell out nerds.
Alright.
Because it's just funny. I like it. But, for me, I realized that at the end of 2014, a lot of good albums came out. I was having a really hard time to really nail it down, but I stuck with Chromeo, White Women. They're a band from Montreal, and I think this is their 4th or 5th album. And it's kind of like synth synth, like disco funk kind of sounding, and again they nailed it and knocked it out of the park, and it was very enjoyable. But my favorite song of 2014 was Bruno Mars and Ron Morrison, Uptown Funk.
I'm pretty sure it's Mike Ronson.
Mike Ronson, thank you. Oops. I think I'm thinking about the other guy, Return of the Mac guy. I thought that was an amazing song. When you watch them performing it live, it really comes alive and it shows you like what the song is all about. It's definitely a really giant homage to Morris Day and the Time, which is a funk band from the 80s that were tied in with Prince, basically. And every time he performs it, he nails it, knocks out. His band gets into it. They all have like a big choreography to it and everything. It's a big spectacle. So I really, really enjoyed that song.
Bruno Mars, good at putting on a show.
Amazing.
It's like, what else is new?
Amazing at putting on a show. Any kind of show.
He's really good.
But he's good at like not just sticking to like one kind of theme as well. He is playing around different
different
Guy
genres.
is a performer.
He's a performer and he's a producer as well.
Well, if you've
and
seen
he's a big
him,
fan.
if you saw him on SNL when he did that whole skit where he basically plays like 3 or 4 different genres at the same time while getting into their affectations, he's very much a performer.
I was gonna say Happy by Pharrell, but my pick is gonna be Blank Space by Taylor Swift. I don't need to explain myself. You all know Taylor Swift.
Is she your spirit animal?
Taylor Swift is my spirit animal for 2014, going into this rough 2015
Did she
patch.
get you?
Taylor Swift gets me. She understands me, and that's why Taylor Swift Blank Space
Is your song?
Is my song of 2014.
Unlike Ali, I really do like Taylor Swift. Shake It Off is my song for 2014. Haters gonna hate, and I'm a hater.
Hate.
She was just singing about how I'm gonna hate no matter what you say. So you just gotta deal with me.
I don't want to deal with you.
I'm pretty sure.
Why don't you just listen to the sick beat? I'm gonna write down.
I'm still pretty sure that this song isn't what you think it is
I don't think that's
about.
how this song is supposed to work, Keith.
Your interpretation might be slightly off.
It's okay. It's Taylor Swift. It's your
Shake it
whatever
off.
your interpretation is.
Hey, I'm just gonna shake off all these negative comments of you and your Taylor hating.
Shake
Wait,
it off.
who's hating on Taylor Swift?
This man, I can
Shake
see
it
it.
off. Shake it off.
And that music video, her ironic bad dancing was amazing.
I don't think it was ironic. I think it was just bad dancing.
How dare you? How dare you?
What? I like the song.
She's a fantastic
I
dancer.
can't
She's
wait.
an passable dancer.
She's no
can't-
Bruno Mars.
No,
Her songs are more catchy and better.
no, not really. But
I'm sorry. Uptown Funk is no blank
Uptown,
space.
fuck you up. Uptown,
No, it
fuck you up.
isn't. It really isn't.
And I love
And
that
it ain't
fact.
no shake it off
I
either.
love that.
So
That it's
catchy.
neither of those songs.
So much energy about this.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
Listen to Taylor Swift.
All right. So we're gonna bring the room energy back down.
This got really catchy really fast for me, and it got stuck in my head for like a month or two. I think the song of the year for me is Fall Out Boy, Immortals. I really liked the Big Hero 6 movie. I enjoyed it a lot, although it's still not worth it in IMAX or in 3D. But that song, that was one of the songs that really made the movie for me, and that song just got stuck in my head. The lyrics are actually very bad, but the soundtrack... The sound of it, the audio, the music of it, and how it's put
Composition
together,
and everything.
it works really well. I had it stuck in my head for like.
Did they have a full album this year?
I think it's gonna be on their full album, but it's not out yet. If it is, it's probably gonna come out in 2015.
Yeah, the album that they're going to release that this song is going to join as well is in 2015.
Okay.
However, this was used and created for
Big Hero
the
6.
Big Hero 6 movie, and so that's why it's my 2014 pick and not 2015.
Well, the song came out in 2014, so it works.
Exactly.
I think Seth put this out as a joke, but I'm not sure. But he put down Paula by Robin Thicke.
No, I think his real pick was 1989 as an album.
Yeah,
by
it
Taylor
probably
Swift.
is. So Seb's pick for 2014, 1989, the album. T-Swift, you really put it out this year. Yeah, really
So
put it
good.
out. Thanks for leaving country alone.
Wow.
She's finally embracing her pop roots that she always wanted to do, it seems. All right, next up, we're going to talk about literature. But pretty much we're going to be talking about graphic novels and manga for this one, because no one here reads.
Nobody got time for that.
That's what
We do, but just not often.
No, that's what happens when Seth doesn't show up. He's the only one who reads books for the most
All
part.
the books that I read, or the series that I've started, the new books, I haven't gotten to them yet in that series, so I can't say they're my favorite of 2014.
I would have said something new by Darwin Cook, but that book comes out in 2015, so
Yeah.
he's just making it now.
So, Kevin, you did pick something? What was your pick for 2014?
There's actually a book by the same author and
Graphic novel.
Graphic novel was the artist.
Well, he did the art, the story.
The creator for he was the one who did Scott Pilgrim. He also did Lost at Sea, and he did another one this year called Seconds. It's a woman who was the chef of a restaurant called Seconds, and she's aiming to try to open a new one for herself. And a lot of events are happening at the restaurant that she lives in upstairs, and apparently there's a spirit ghost, or just a spirit in the place that's giving her the ability after eating a mushroom to change back mistakes that she makes, or change whatever thing she wants to change after she writes it in a little pad. And it just goes on through all the events of what she does, how she gets corrupted by it, how much it affects her. And it was a good, I wouldn't say it's as strong as Scott Pilgrim. I wouldn't even say it's as strong as Lost at Sea, because that one I liked because of how it really felt like someone who had ADD, the way how it moved all over the place. It just worked really well for this, but it's still a very solid graphic novel. I very much enjoyed it. It was a good buy for me, and I'm actually thankful that I remembered about it, because I had forgot it for a bit, and then I'm like, oh yeah, Seconds. I remembered that he had done something this year, and it was worth a read. It was actually I actually went out of my way to make quiet time. I never just sit in the corner and just be like, I'm gonna read a book. I don't read books, and I took the time to read this one, even if it was a graphic novel. And no, I enjoyed it. It has a good moments in there that I think a lot of people can relate, especially nowadays with technology and all that. It does make mention of how that's affecting life as well. Definitely worth it.
So that was Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley. The graphic novel, or series of graphic novels I'm going to talk about, is Gundam The Origin. And I talk about this one now because it did start coming out in 2013, but the stretch that we got in 2014 is all the new material that the original print run of this stopped at. So it takes up from, you get to go to the past of the Universal Century from the Gundam UC timeline and see a lot of the earlier battles of the 1 Year War that is referenced to mostly in passing in the anime series itself. So it tells you the backstory of the main character, it tells you the backstory of his rival, it tells you about the origins of the mobile suits and how they started getting uses. It shows you the actual battle that they reference, the initial battle that basically started the war. And there's a movie coming out for it in 2015 to celebrate also the anniversary, but that's one of 3 movies. But it's great because this one gave us all this new information. So if you're reading the first set, it basically followed the original anime, but it got rid of a lot of the silliness like the movies did, and it reordered some of the events from the anime. But in 2014, you really got a lot of the new content, and the books they're really nice. They're published in hardcover, special edition only, by Vertical Publishing, and it's done by one of the original main artists for the original series. So he comes back and he adds in a whole bunch of technological advancements, things that seem silly that he fixed. It's a really good story. It gives you a lot of backstory. It's a very fun read. The production quality on the manga itself is really high, and it definitely makes for, if you're into mecha, definitely go get it out. They made it sound like they're only going to print it once, but it has been doing well because this series has been doing well. They might start releasing new Gundam mangas in the future. I'm glad for that.
Oh, I was going to say, I remember that I read a book this year.
Did it come out this year?
Yeah, it came out this year.
And what is the book?
The Ikea catalog. 2014, just like the 2015. It's a book, tactile, flipping the pages left to right, great images, and my sister even bought something out of it. She bought a cabinet.
It's a catalog.
It's a book. Look at the ad for the 2015.
It's a graphic novel.
Okay. Wow.
That's as close as King's gonna get for literature.
Wow.
Better Ikea.
That catalog's amazing. Don't knock it. Wendell here's giving me dirty stink eye.
In the old days, it was a Sears catalog. Now it's got Ikea.
Okay, so next up we're going to talk about viral videos.
My viral video is Bobby Schmurda's Hot N-word.
Who?
Bobby Schmurda is a rapper. If I remember right, he's from New York. I could be mistaken. He had a song that came out, and it by now-ish, it's hit 32 million hits on YouTube. The music video, and this video, like it was like very popular on hip hop stations and stuff like that. And there was a line in it that says, "My boy came home about a week ago," talking about a friend of his that came out of jail. People started taking that line and adding it, appropriating it to a bunch of other things. So like Naruto technically ended this year, and the main big fight ended. And so what people would do is take part of the music video, the screenshot it, put characters from Naruto on the faces of the people dancing in the video, and it says, "We saved the world about a week ago," and like they're all like, you know, having fun and enjoying and just having fun and being like victorious in their dancing. The beat was used on various other things. There was a video out there on Instagram where T.I. was talking about his fight with Floyd Mayweather Jr. They had an altercation, and people were saying that he had two black eyes from Floyd Mayweather when he tried to confront him and fight him. And he's doing this video and he shows his face and he says, "I don't have any black eyes. Where they at though?" And then so someone took that line from T.I. and then put the beat from Bobby Schmurda, Hot N-word, underneath it, and it made a big thing. There was even a video of a news anchor dancing to it and trying to get his co-anchor to dance with it, and she was like, "No, I don't dance on camera," and he was just enjoying it. He didn't really care. Also, there's a dance that came out of it called the Show Me Dance, and it's basically like a two-step with like a little sway into it, and a lot of R&B singers and rappers and people like during concerts are doing the dance. People are doing the dance on the Vine and stuff like that. So like this one song kind of spawned a bunch of other memes and its own viral thing on its own. So that's my particular pick.
Okay. Anyone has comments on this one?
Bobby Schmurda?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. So
It's
no
okay.
comment.
You're not the only one. I honestly haven't heard of it either, but
There was also just a...
You sure he didn't have ClickBots to get that 32 million?
No, why would I click it 13 million times? I don't need
No.
to.
No, I said
Yeah.
ClickBot.
No,
he have 30.
No, he did not. Just a little other thing. It was also like when they took the Show Me Dance, they would do like a little Vine thing where it has like the text on the top and text on the bottom. And one of them was like a reoccurring one that happened a lot was how 90s kids feel when this song comes on. So it'd be like various songs from the 90s, and they would all like kind of like freak out or lose their mind and like start dancing like, "Oh, I remember this song," and that kind of stuff too. So yeah, that's it.
My thing was the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge because that was the one that I did. I did it because work offered to pay $100 to anyone who did it, and I wasn't.
What?
Yeah. So I was like,
Did you donate it to charity?
well, work donated it to charity.
Oh, okay.
And then I donated myself some money, and I did it at a friend's house, and I nominated people there, and we got like 12 people to do it in the end, and it was fun. And it was
Okay, cool.
charity.
Did people actually know what they were doing? And
Well, I had to
what-
explain it to some of them. Like 3 or 4 people knew what they were doing, and other people were like, "What is it?" And I was like, "Well, this is what's supposed to happen. You give money. If you don't give money, you get a bucket of ice. But most people do both."
You're actually
And it-
supposed to do both.
Originally, you weren't. Originally, it was money, and if you don't give the money, because you have 24 hours to give money, if you don't give the money,
Yes.
you get a bucket of ice on your head.
I don't know. The way I heard it is that you're supposed to give money either way.
No, it just turned into giving money either
Yeah.
way.
Okay.
Because celebrities were like, well, ice buckets, you could put it in viral. That's why, like, Patrick Stewart just wrote the check and then drank some scotch, because that's what you're supposed to do, is give money. And then celebrities were like, well, that's not crazy enough. I gotta outdo it. And then everyone else was like, okay, we should do both. But originally, it was, you have 24 hours to give money, and if you don't give money, you get a bucket of ice on your head. And when I tried to explain that to people, like, no, you give both. I was like, originally, so, like, if you say no to giving money, you're getting a bucket of ice on your head. You don't get to choose yes or no. You get nominated, and you get bucketed, or you give money.
Tina
Or
Fey did
do
a
both.
funny one where she's like, "All right, guys, I got narrated for the ice bucket challenge. This is totally me," and then it jump cuts and it's some completely
Yeah, it's a
different
kid.
person.
It's a little kid.
It's a little kid. They tub a bucket of ice on her, and she's like, "I'm just gonna give them money."
Yeah, like Charlie Sheen dropped like $10,000 on his head. There's the.
I mean, I like that one though. He's just like, "All right, I'm gonna do this, guys. What's this? It's just money."
Chris Pratt was pretty funny. He's drinking like alcohol
I
And then his wife throws a bucket over ice
He was
over
like
him.
vodka ice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Smirnoff ice.
Yeah.
I really like the little. She's like maybe one less, and she's like, you can't understand a word she says because she's so young. Ice bucket challenge, and then they drop ice on her, and she goes, "Fucking hell!" Everyone just dies.
My favorite one was the Kermit the Frog one, and the one before that, the one that the person that challenged him was the head of WWF. What's his name? Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And his was pretty funny too.
But like a lot of celebrities got challenged like 5 times, and they're like, "I'll do it once." And sometimes they're like, 3 people challenge me, so I guess it's my turn. You know, people got really angry at the hockey player because he wasted so much water. Who was it? Matt Damon used toilet water because he didn't want to waste clean water.
Vert Troyer used milk. California was in a drought or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then there was that, I think it was Don Cheadle who used bullets because he wanted to change it from ALS to...
No, that wasn't Don Cheadle. That was shoot. He was the 7-Up guy. It's not Don Cheadle. It's the 7-Up guy.
Ice Cube.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like the challenge got way further than.
Oh my favorite non-version of it was 50 Cent challenging Floyd Mayweather Jr.
$1 million to read a book.
It was so mean. It was so mean. He said, "I want you to read a paragraph from Harry Potter."
That was so bad.
Anyways, yeah. So that was my like meme. It went crazy, and I partook, and I felt good about myself.
My 2014 favorite meme, or viral video, I guess, is Unexpected Thug Life. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Explain it. What goes on?
What is Unexpected Thug Life? Basically, I mean, I think it's originally young kids. They would film, well, it'd be videos of young kids, and they'd be doing inconspicuous things or whatever. It's just a normal video, and then boom, they swear. You have like this unexpected twist.
Well, there'll be someone doing something, and somebody will call them out, like, "Oh, why are you doing this childish thing?" or "How come you can't do this?" And then the kid will be like,
They will reply very adult-like.
they will reply with like a really good comeback.
And be rude, and then you'd have the cut where it like fades to like black and white. You have that little thug life that appears on the screen, and you have.
And
I think it was originally GTA music.
It was either GTA music or it was like a song from The Chronic or something like that, like from Dr. Dre's The Chronic or Chronic 2001.
So you have like huge compilations of these, and I think my favorite one was a non-kid one. It was called "We Jesus," and it's basically,
So good.
It's this Asian dude dressed up as Jesus, and he's walking down the street. It's originally a prank video where this guy has a baby in a baby carriage, and his balloons attached to the baby, and the baby flies away, and he's like, "Oh, help my baby!" So there's this guy dressed up as Jesus, and he's smoking weed.
He's an Asian guy.
And this Asian dude, and he just walks past the prank. He completely misses the prank. He's like, "I don't give a shit," and he just walks past. He sees a homeless guy in a wheelchair, and he throws his blunt at the homeless dude, and the video zooms in on the homeless guy. The homeless guy, he takes like 5 seconds to realize he just got like a lit blunt thrown at him. He looks at it, he's like, "Huh?" And it ends with him smoking. And the
he
end
takes a big puff of it.
And the end, like, music is "Smoke weed every day." Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Oh my god. Unexpected Thug Life.
I mean, that thing grew to so much. Did you see the duck one? That one I love.
Which one is the duck one?
There's like a little duck wobbling in the street, and then he walks into a store, grabs something, and walks out with it in his beak, and goes, "Thug Life." Blah, blah.
There was another one with a pigeon. There was another one with a pigeon, and the pigeon's standing in the street. And then there's a bus that's trying to like get to the curb, but then it kind of misses the pigeon. You think the pigeon gets run over by the front end, and it doesn't. And then the bus is kind of like turning away from the pigeon, and the pigeon's kind of like looking at the camera.
And
it doesn't move at all. And it's like Thug Life. And then one of the most recent ones that came out was Jeremy Renner. What was his name again?
It's 2015, Wendell.
Oh,
Yeah, that's not 2014.
Okay, fine. Then that doesn't count. Golden Globes. Look it up.
I blame all of you for this one. It got stuck. Too many cooks.
Too many cooks. Too many cooks.
We already made an episode of it, so I'm not gonna go into.
Many cooks.
I won't go any further, but that's another song that got stuck in my head at work, and I'm like trying to do my job, and it's like nuts.
Why would that stop you from doing your job? It's a
No,
great
it just
song.
distracts me.
The best.
It's a fun song.
And then people are like, what are you it's like, what are you humming? I'm like, oh.
Over the Christmas break, I showed it to a bunch of people who had not seen it, and I'm just like, just watch this. You're gonna love it. And watching people watch that video is sometimes just as hilarious as watching the video.
Yes, if you could find someone who doesn't know what Too Many Cooks, what the whole video is about, show it to them and just watch them. I think it's the best.
Yeah.
I heard one of the interpretations of that was that the killer in the background is actually audiences' taste in TV shows changing throughout the years. So like every show they're showing is just different shows. Alf, shows from the 70s, 80s, early 90s, and then that guy going around doing all that crazy killing is the audience wanting more and more grittier anti-hero stuff. So like Dexter, Hannibal, The Americans, etc., etc. So just like the change of tastes of people. So I was just like, ooh, that's a pretty good interpretation of that.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's also possible that they wanted to they just wanted to throw something in there to mess with people. Because it kind of makes sense, but it also then goes right into cheesy, like, classic sci-fi.
Yeah.
Right after that.
Well,
so.
that would be like the original Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I know, but it feels like it kind of loops back.
Yeah, I understand.
But I get what you mean. It's a fun video. I enjoyed it. And the viral video I picked came out fairly recently. It's Shia LaBeouf, the live performance by Rob Cantor. This one is just like hilarious. And even though I knew it was like the twist is spoiled for you at the beginning of the video,
I kind of don't feel so in some ways. Like if no one says it to you,
no,
like, oh, it's
the link I saw was basically his face, and it's like, oh well, I'm curious to see what this is about. And then you see the whole video, and it's orchestrated with like there's orchestration, there's two choirs, there's interpretive dancers.
One of them is like what the
choir dancing.
One of them is like the gay choir from like LA or something.
Yeah,
like
the LA
that.
gay.
Oh, chorus. It was a chorus.
LA gay chorus.
Yeah.
And then the young kids chorus also. And then there's orchestra. There's interpretive dancers.
There's silk
narration.
dancers.
It's great. It's hilarious, and it's a fun song to listen to too.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, when you
Fighting for your life, it's Shia LaBeouf. Sawing off your leg, Shia LaBeouf.
But you can do jiu-jitsu. I really enjoyed that video. So Seb agreed with Kevin and said Too Many Cooks.
That's a very rare occurrence. Seb and Kevin agreeing on something.
2015 is a flop.
It's a Christmas miracle.
End of days.
So join us in the next segment where we'll be discussing anime and television. And we're back, and this is the second part of our multi-part 2014 year-end review. And in this part, we're going to be talking about anime and television. Same caveat as before, must have come out in 2014, and that's pretty much it. So we're going to start with Keith.
So I watched Akame ga Kill. I watched it all at once from both, I guess, 16 episodes. So 24. So both seasons, or is it one season?
It was just one full season.
Okay.
So it wasn't split up like 12-12. So yeah.
So I really like this anime. I haven't seen an anime that I've been really into, and I'm glad it ended. I found it weird that the anime ended, and apparently the manga's only like halfway through where the anime reached, so they must have made a total non-canon ending, but I still liked it.
Oh, a la Full Metal Alchemist? Yeah, because I thought about that too when I watched it. I'm like, wait, isn't it still ongoing? But yeah.
So the basic story is Tatsumi, who's one of those like go-hardy, super wants to save the world, leaves his village with his two buddies to go to the big city and make money to save the village because they're super poor and they're being taxed like crazy and they need money. He gets separated from his buddies, and on the way he finds a monster and kills it, and the guards are like, yo, you're so good with the story. He's like, yeah, that's why I'm going to go to the city and save the world. And they're like, don't go to the city, like it's full of like creeps, dirtbags, douchebags. Everyone in the city is just like corrupted and monsters. You should go better home. And he's like, no, I already made it this far. I'm going to totally go to the city. So he gets to the city, his friends aren't there, he tries to join the army, and he's like, yo, I should be a commander. And they're like, no, we're in a recession, you could be a grunt. And he's like, but I'm awesome. And they're like, get out of here, we don't need you. Then some girl with big boobs comes, and she's like, I totally know a guy that'll help you out. You just give me the money and I'll go and he'll sign some papers and you'll be a leader. So he gets robbed, so he has no money.
He gets hustled completely.
Completely hustled. He's like, oh man, this city sucks, but I'm gonna find a way. And then some person takes him in, and
A rich girl
takes him in, and he's like, oh my god, these people are so nice, they're so nice. And then he finds out they're complete scumbags who they've kidnapped his friends.
They like to torture people.
Yeah, he's like, what? And then, like, he ends up joining the Resistance, which are really just a bunch of assassins with super cool, powerful weapons.
Well, no, they're a sect of they're a part of the Resistance. They're the assassination wing, but yeah.
And sort of like Kill la Kill, they have, like, one super weapon that sort of gives them magical powers almost.
The Imperial Arms.
The Imperial Arms. And there's 48 of them, and they were created 1,000 years ago, and nothing's better than any of them. They're super crazy, but not all of them are created equal, and each weapon sort of chooses its master.
They all have special abilities.
Yeah, so like one controls time, another one just makes wires that can't be cut, you know. The girl has scissors that glows.
One has a gun that basically gets more powerful whenever she's in a pinch.
Named Pumpkin.
Yeah.
And the weapons sort of go with their characteristics.
They're different types as well.
So like there's the clumsy girl, there's the rich girl who's not really rich, you know, like the aristocrat girl.
Right.
There's just like the serious general that like can't do it. And then the main bad guy is just like the most powerful person in the world. She's like, well, I don't care, I just want to fight. I just want to beat things, you know? And she's like, I don't care what this politician who wants me to do things do. I don't care what the resistance is about. All I want to do is fight and find people that are better, because the strong survive and the weak die. And that's her sort of like mantra. Anyways, the fight scenes are awesome. The story's good. And it sort of goes like Game of Thrones, where you never know who's going to die.
Yeah, no one's
like,
safe.
No one's safe. So I think it was genius. And
I wouldn't go that far, but it was a good, fun,
I mean, the last
anime.
animes that I watched were like Log Horizon and Hunter x Hunter. So compared to, and I really liked Hunter x Hunter, but this one's like above it.
Oh yeah, it's short, it's fun, it's 24 episodes, and it actually ends, which is very rare these days to get in an anime.
The one thing I didn't really like is there's a lot of gay jokes, and he's like,
But it's Japan.
it's Japan, and it's more like, it's like, this guy's gay. He's like, oh, but he's totally into me, ew. And then he's like, but he's so awesome.
The character's conflicted by the guy's so awesome, but he's also gay.
Oh, okay.
And the dude, and then like there's a scene where he's like, the dude has like a pompadour,
Yeah.
and he wears the pompadour and he's like so awesome, and then they see the photo of him, like, because they're all like, as he
They're
said,
wanted.
resisted assassins, and like the wanted poster before it, he's like, yo, the before and after.
It's basically his long flow.
It went from like Bushunin to like Pompadour.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I think people should give it a chance, especially because it might be over. The one thing I didn't get is it's called Akame ga Kill, but Akame is not the main character.
No.
It's totally Tatsumi.
Yeah, it's one of those things like.
But maybe in future episodes or another season.
It's really more about Tatsumi. It's one of those things like where the anime is just named after the female character because they know it can draw in some kind of audience.
Right.
But it really follows a male main character most of the.
But to be fair, there's way more female characters than male characters.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, it's anime, and a lot of the female characters to match up with the different archetypes, so more figures to sell. I definitely would say give it a watch. Don't be misled by the first episode. It's not as dark as it seems, except for at times it does get as dark as that first episode.
It gets dark.
Like legit, they'll just kill random people like boom, and you're just like what?
I was a coworker of mine like said, "Yo, watch this show," and I was like, "All right, fine, yeah, happy go lucky." Got into whoa. I don't know.
Like that first episode's pretty dark, and then the next few episodes after that are pretty silly to some extent with a few good fight scenes, and then a few episodes later than that they kill off some characters.
It gets light then dark then light then dark. But don't worry, guys. There is a bikini scene for you people out there that like that type of
There's
thing.
a beach episode, but not your typical beach episode.
No, not typical at all.
It's a fun show. It's a good episode.
Happy, scared, but like still like, oh boy.
It's honestly, it does the comedy very well as the action scenes very well, and it feels still very balanced, even though it feels very extreme at the same time. So it's definitely, I would also recommend it.
And the main character's great. No spoilers, just the main character amazing.
My anime for 2014 is Space Dandy Season 1. I didn't get a chance to see Season 2, which also came out in 2014. But Space Dandy is directed by the same person that directed Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo.
Watanabe.
Yes. So you know you're gonna get quality here. But the show is more comedy, more specifically on purpose comedy, satire, and and just like kind of spoofing a bunch of different things here and there. I specifically watched the dub of it, so the dub had a lot of good writing in it, a lot of great work by the dubbing cast. So basically it follows this guy named Space Dandy, and his job is to go around the universe and find new extraterrestrials and make money off of them by getting them registered and
Think of it as like a survey bounty hunter.
yeah, pretty much. And so on his crew, he has a Beetlejuicean that's named Meow, that looks like a cat, and a old robot that's kind of like a cleaning robot, like a vacuum cleaner. His name is QT. And so it's about their misadventures and everything, and as they're going about the universe and kind of doing their slacker adventures, there's an empire that's having a big fight with another empire, but they're specifically pursuing Space Dandy for some reason, and it's never explained in the first season. It's just constantly, oh, we found him, oh no, he got away from us, oh, we found him, got away from us, etc., over and over. The show, it has a few episodes that are very silly and fan servicey. Like there's a restaurant they like to go to called Boobies, obviously, and
Hooters analog.
yeah, it's a Hooters analog basically. And there's other references to like Michael Jackson. Like there's a moment where Space Dandy is trying to hit on a girl, and he does like the right leg kick, and he opens up his jacket a bit and does like a little shuffle that Michael Jackson does. There's another scene where Mecha comes out of nowhere and stuff, and it's just really like sometimes it has a very tender moments. Like the last episode had a really cool scene that was going on between QT and some other characters. Like it's kind of all over the place, but it's really has a lot of heart, and it really reminds me of like old school 90s animes that used to pull you in by their story or their silliness, and just had a lot of fun. So like out of everything that's been going on, where you had like all this like hardcore stuff and gore and this and that, like it was really fun to just laugh and watch an anime that its humor got across very well. So it wasn't like, oh man, this is really hard to get through because it's Japanese. It was very entertaining, and I like the references they dropped here and there. For me, my special
Honorable mention
is Initial D Final Stage. After 20 years of being an anime, it has finally ended. The last match has happened, and it's sad to see this like old friend go, and finding out what the D in Initial D really stands for, and just getting actual closure, and seeing everyone move on from this little time in their life where they're racers on the Japanese mountain peaks and everything like that. So it's sad to see it go, but it has to go, and I'm glad it finally finished and wrapped up.
Cool.
I just wanted to comment about the whole Space Dandy. I haven't seen it, but the way you were explaining everything, I'm like, it feels like I played this game. I think it was called Space Quest.
No, well, it's
just the similarities to it, but I'll have to take a look at it.
you definitely like it. It's really silly. There's 2 seasons.
My pick for 2014 is a show that started in 2013 but ended in 2014, and it's going to be Kill la Kill. I only watched 2 anime, so it was between that and Sword Art Online Season 2, which was garbage. So I'm going to go with Kill la Kill, which was directed by the same guy who directed Gurren Lagann, and I think Panty and Stocking also.
Probably
along the same lines. Yes.
Yeah, so it's about a schoolgirl named Ryuko, and her dad is dead, and she goes to this school to find her dad's killer with a half sword or half scissor, and the school is run, by a student council, and the student council president gives out these uniforms that gives people superhuman abilities.
Yes, the Goku form.
Yeah, the Goku uniforms,
Yeah.
and you have rankings. So you have the 3 stars, which is her like top 4. Yeah, that's her council, and then you have the 2 stars and 1 star. The 2 stars going to club leaders, I believe,
club
and
leaders.
1 stars to like whoever.
Just enforcers.
Yeah,
Like regular enforcers.
and basically it's Ryuko's battle within the school, like climbing up the ranks to find out who killed her father, and somewhere in there you find out that
Spoilers.
That's all spoilers. Well, you in the second half you find out who does it. The story shifts from being just her against the school to making it a more, I guess.
Yeah, you find out who's actually controlling everything.
Yeah, so it becomes a more countrywide event, then becomes a global event.
Yeah.
It's really fun. The uniform grants the students abilities, like higher performing abilities. It's a world where your ranking in school determines how well your family lives. And this is illustrated by Ryuko's best friend, who becomes her best friend, Mako Makonshoku, who's a very divisive character because she's very silly, but she's borderline annoying at times, but also has so much heart. So
she's a good character. I feel like she balances her out.
I feel like at times her shtick is very annoying, but sometimes it's very well placed.
But it works really well because like there's even an episode devoted to like how far she can actually rank up on her own and like pull her whole family out of the gutter, and then she realized she's not really happy at the tier 3 Goku super.
No, that wasn't her. It wasn't her. It was Ryoko who wasn't happy.
No, I thought she got to the 3rd star. They gave her a 3rd star right at the near the end of the episode.
It's possible, but Mako and the family were all fine.
Yeah.
They were living it up. The power basically turned them into douchebags.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly it.
And Ryoko was the one who was like, I miss the togetherness that you had when you were poor.
I liked it when we were poor.
And they're all like, no. And so they basically, the whole storyline, and then they all end up back. But yeah, basically Mako using, Ryuko's like, I'll play within the system to get to where I can finally get to the student council president, who is at this point like telling her, oh, I killed your father kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But obviously it's not her. And yeah, the story continues on. It's pretty crazy.
It's a fun 24 episodes. If you like Gurren Lagann, it's like the same art style.
It has really good points, I find, but at times it gets very silly and like Monster of the Weeky a lot. Like early on, it feels like it wasn't sure where it was going, and so you have like a few battles against some student club leaders that don't really impact much of the plot a lot of the time, and then like a few episodes after that, they have this huge battle, and that kind of fixes everything, and then it slows down a bit, and then there's another one where she's fighting off against the the student council elections, where basically whoever makes it to the top of the 4 pillars or 5 pillars can have the opportunity to become student council, and it basically the main character against each one of the people, and that's just like, oh, let's find a new way to give her new powers. Overall, I think the whole transformation sequence is pretty well done. It's still pretty funny, and there's a resistance group which is called what is it again?
Naked Beach or no?
Nudist Beach, and it's pretty hilarious. And they pilot dudes. Yeah, they pilot GTRs, I think they're called, or DRs. DTRs or something. And basically, it's like them jumping into a suit, and it's like they're horizontal, and it's basically legs with like missile pods on the side,
and they're naked.
To be a true nudist beach, you're basically naked. So all that you have is like your utility belt, and if you're female, you have like straps to go over your nipples. And so it's funny at times. I enjoyed it overall. I think it was a bit overhyped at times, but I think overall it's still a strong show.
Yeah, it was fun.
Nowhere to the point Gurren Lagann was like hyped up way more than it should have been, as much as I love that show as well.
But I think Ali put it perfectly. It's just really a fun anime.
Yeah,
I liked it, and it was better than Sword Art Online. Yeah, too.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I definitely would also put that out there as a go watch. It still has a lot of those anime-isms where it's like a lot of like fan service, but it technically works within the context of the show as well.
It might have started in 2013, but it really was the good parts in 2014.
Yes.
So I'm giving it to you, Ali.
The student council war against the East takeover plan.
Yeah, so it went from local to Japan-wide
to global with covers by the Revox Corporation.
Worth a watch.
It's definitely worth a watch. We barely spoiled anything, so definitely give it a shout out. So the anime I'm going to be talking about falls a bit more on the shoujo side of things, but it's a shoujo comedy, and it's called Gekken Shoujo Nozaki-kun, or Girls Monthly Nozaki-kun. Basically, it's about a guy who basically draws a popular shoujo manga for one of those like manga publishing
magazine kind of.
Well, yeah, but the female equivalent, and so he has one of the very popular shoujo manga, and the opening sequence is the sort of quote unquote main character. She goes up to confess to him that she likes him a lot, and he misunderstands the situation for her wanting an autograph, because he doesn't hide the fact, but no one seems to believe him that he's a manga artist. And as you go along, you meet more characters, and you see where he draws a lot of his inspirations from. So a lot of the female characters in his manga are in real life men who he takes the characteristics and turns them into female in the manga because they have a very protagonist, I guess, female characteristics, and a lot of the females he meets in real life are the male characters in the manga because a lot of the things they do show up like that, and a lot of the characters start pairing off also a bit. There's also great sequences like the rainy day part of the show where all the people who they don't know that they all work for him. So all the side characters technically work for him, but they all don't realize it except for like the main character knows who a bunch of them are, but they don't know each other. So a bunch of the 3 of the guys who work for him who don't know they all work for him show up just because it's raining outside and they can't get home. And Nozaki-kun at this time, he's looking for material for his next chapter. And he's like, I need to write a sleepover scene. And since you guys are all sleeping over, what would you guys talk about at a sleepover? And at this point, all the guys are female. And they're like, wow, that's super weird. Why would you ask us to do things like that? So little bits happen. So like they'll take out their work tools because they're so used to working. And then they'll all pull them away because they're like, oh no. And so they all kind of figure it out. And it ends with Nozaki-kun just looking at them, trying to draw inspiration, and then he falls asleep. You never see it, but off to the side, it's like you see your image is Nozaki-kun sleeping, and off to in the background you can hear them all having your typical sleepover things. It's like, so it's like, oh, look at my muscles, look how big. It's like, oh man, your muscles are so big. Aw, don't you dare say that. Well, why would you do that? And then they start having a pillow fight and things like that. That it's all implied. Definitely a fun show. It's very silly. Honestly, it's the kind of show that if you just read the synopsis, it sounds super stupid. And the only reason I watch it is because some people I know were like, this is a lot, like I had reservations, but the show turned out to be great. And honestly, it's fun. And a lot of the episodes are basically 2 parts. So it's like first half, second half. Sometimes they're related, but they're like vignettes to some extent. Lots of fun, definite recommend. It's like Oran High Hopes Club to some extent in terms of parody.
For the characters, yeah, but I like how the main character, like how he becomes really popular makes no sense, but then you realize he just studies very well. He has the material very well. He gets all the stuff he wants, and then like he jokes is just like, yeah, I know everything about I know what women want, and then like he tries to impart this like knowledge and he doesn't really have it, and the girl's like, what are you doing? So it's really funny, and even like the girls are just like, how are you the person doing these mangas, and then find the parallels in that. I watched it when you mentioned it. It's very interesting. I definitely liked it as well, and even the ending, like right off the bat, like they stick with his character, and he's just like, duh.
There's more.
So
I think
good.
There's definitely like the manga or the light novel, I forget which it's based off of, is definitely ongoing, and it ends now, and I hope sales are good and it can come back for a second season.
It'll be worth it.
But in the meantime, there's a few DVD extras that have come out, and it's pretty hilarious too. So it's definitely a fun show. It's not super fan servicey. The comedy is very still broad enough that you can enjoy it, but you have to go in knowing the caveat that it is still a shoujo-ish, so it's not action based.
I'm a little disappointed this didn't get a lot more episodes. I do hope that it'll continue in 2015. But
I don't think so. DVD sales apparently weren't that great.
That's unfortunate.
I heard that from a friend of mine.
Because the story for it is really good, and it's called No Game, No Life. And you have a sibling pair, a younger sister and a slightly older.
So it's the older brother and the younger sister.
Yeah, and they're just apparently renowned gamers who just go into any random games and they're able to destroy it. And the way that you know them is they never fill out their names, so they're considered blank.
Well, they call themselves blank. Yeah.
And they end up just like being like the best around. And then at one point they're just kind of bored. They had just finished a huge raid, controlling like 4 characters with like each their hand and feet. The sister fell asleep, so the guy's controlling it, all 4 of them together, and wins. And then they end up getting challenged to a chess game, which apparently took like days to finish, but they finally beat this person. And then they end up, because of that, they find out that they were playing a god, and they get teleported to this world where the only thing that is concrete is a set of rules which you could follow, and it ends up just always triggering games.
Well, basically the world is designed around the fact that everything is done. The currency is basically game playing, so you can get anything by playing games. So the world they land in, to determine the next king, it's determined by chess, basically a chess tournament. So that's how the king determined it. He said, when I die, I want my next ruler to be the winner of this chess
I think it was just a gambler. It wasn't chess. It was just, that's the game they chose, because of the challengee gets to choose the game, and the challenger just like decides to accept or whatever. And it's really neat. It's an anime that's straight up like you know they're gonna figure it out, but it's how they figure it out, and they do the explanation, how far they go, and it's unfortunate if it doesn't continue because there's really, like it's implying such like bigger storyline and what could be expected from it, and like to the point where like they're gonna aim to try to defeat the god, which sounds like grand in it, and they're just like, we're gonna start at the bottom of the barrel and just destroy everything, and they literally already take over a kingdom with their skills. So it's just neat how they go forward with it.
It's based off a light novel. I definitely really like this one. Unfortunately, the one thing I'd have to say out there is that there is a lot of fan service, and a lot of it's done in jest. So they know, like, the main character has a thing for his little sister, and the little sister has a thing for the brother, and then you find out, obviously, because it's Japanese, that they're not technically related by blood, but he's all like, no, I can't love you because you're my little sister, but I still want to. And it's like, I only have eyes for my little sister, but I can't be with her because she's my little sister. So they're making fun of it all at the same time. And then there's, I think, one of my favorite episodes is the one where they challenge the person who basically took control of the library, who's another race, and they challenge her to a game of, it's a Japanese game where you basically, the last character, you have to start the new word by, and so you keep going. And so it just keeps getting more intense and insane and insane and insane, and it goes pretty crazy. And it's played in a world where whatever you say comes real. So they'll say, like, atomic bomb,
which is the first thing he says,
and like, because you don't die in this space, but it's just like, wow, I didn't think you would do something so crazy. And so yeah, they do a lot of crazy games like that. It's a lot of fun, and yeah.
One thing that that's also really good about the show is it makes a lot of reference to video games themselves.
Yeah.
So like during the choice of like who becomes the king of the human,
they have a
the human
Phoenix Wright
race
sequence.
You have the judge from Phoenix Wright that's there, kind of like making the choice and whatever, and like right at the end they're like, hold it, objection.
Yeah. It's a lot like Haruhi, where a lot of that isn't in the light novel itself, but because it's an anime, they kind of do make references back to different animes in the animation, and it would be assumed that if two NEET, which is not in employment or extra learning or training or something, I forget what it is, but it's basically like shut-ins. They're super genius shut-ins who probably have watched a ton of anime and things like that, so obviously they're going to make references to anime and video game culture in the show, so
it's worth it.
Definitely also another good pick.
And it's not long. It's since I think there's only like 12 episodes, so it's a quick watch, but it's worth it. Out of all I like to call it the whole like video game genre that was coming out, like Sword Art Online and Log Horizon. Although Log Horizon is still strong, No Game No Life is, like, I think story wise it worked really nicely, and it's unfortunate that it wouldn't continue, and I do hope it does, but if it doesn't, it's worth the 12 episodes to watch it.
Yeah, definitely. And it ends on enough on a note where hopefully you can maybe find the translated light novels online, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. So we're going to move on to television next, and we're going to start with Kevin.
We're starting with me again? All right.
Yeah.
One show that I got hooked right from the get-go, and this I'm talking about a specific season for this year, and that's Legend of Korra, seasons 3 and 4. Season 3 dealing with the return of the Air Nations, and season 4 kind of the year skip for Korra and how she kind of really becomes the full Avatar, kind of completing the whole 4 seasons all together. Just, I like the show, how it's continued to push from where a lot of the work was done from The Last Airbender, and how the things just evolve with the passage of time. So like you have one of the characters who becomes a lava bender. So you get more into the details, you get more to the expansion, and a lot more into the story. But I think that's all I'm going to say for now, because we do plan on we're
going to discuss it next week.
We'll have much more
detail.
Definitely one of the stronger ones for 2014.
For me, I'm going to choose Psych, and this year was a big year for Psych. It was season 8. It was also the series finale, and they also released a musical episode. And I just got to say, it was a great ride. I got on the show, I think, at the end of season 3 or right in the middle of season 4, and I just caught up. And it's a kind of show where I saw the first episode on a DVD of Monk, and I went and I bought the first season on DVD that same day, just because I had to see the rest of this show. It's basically about a guy who pretends to be a psychic detective to get out of going to jail, and he has a a black partner slash sidekick, but they're partners in, I guess, crime, but they're partners in solving the mysteries, whose name is Gus. They basically go around solving mysteries, and they make a bunch of references to the 80s while doing it because they grew up in the 80s. It's a lot of fun. They have basically cops who are 2 detective cops who also let them in on the mysteries, who help them out when they're in trouble. And season 8 was basically a big going away party. So a lot of points they do have that happen, like in season 7, there's a huge split up between 2 of the main characters, and that's all fixed in like 30 seconds. Oh no, it's actually in this season, and that's fixed in like a passing remark. Oh, by the way, we're back together. The musical episode alone was just great. The songs were great. The story was great. It felt like a send off to several characters as well, and it's explained within the concept of the show, and it's still in the timeline of the show. And season 8, the finale is how I would put it. I think not perfect in the sense that everything was just so perfect, like technically. It just felt perfect in the sense that the show came to a really good end, and it could continue on, and I'd want to watch more, and it could stop here, and I'd be perfectly fine with that. And obviously it stopped here, so I don't think they'll bring it back. And it's just one of those things where that last episode, and you're going through the entire last episode, and they're making callbacks to jokes from season 1 through the entire show. They basically, all the characters get what they want, and they evolve, and they realize different things, and it just comes to an ending, and it's just so emotional. And as for a show I followed for like the last 4 or 5 years, and a show I rewatch on a regular basis, it was just, I could not sum it up then. It was the perfect ending. You get through 8 seasons and you're not disappointed. You can tell season 8 is like, you can tell they're getting there. Like certain characters are getting their like finality story. So one's getting married, they're getting a baby, one's moving on to get a higher position in a company or another precinct. It kind of really works. It's a really fun season as well. And that musical episode that airs before the season starts, beautiful. And that's why I picked it for 2014. And I definitely recommend you go out there and watching it. I'm in the process of rewatching it again with a friend.
So Andrew's gonna kill me because I kept flip-flopping on this show of 2014. Originally, I was gonna say
You chose Three Musketeers, didn't you? Just say Three Musketeers. Just say Three Musketeers.
And then I was gonna choose Three Musketeers, and then I realized no one was talking about Game of Thrones, but then that was a given because it's just amazing. But Wendell would agree with me. Justified season 5 is where it's at. Because Justified is a show that I couldn't remember if Wendell told me to watch or I told Wendell to watch, because we both started watching it around the same time.
Right.
It follows Raylan Gibbons, who's a sheriff who really has to deal with his like hometown Kentucky, where he knows
He's a U.S.
Marshal, and he knows everyone in the town. So it's like his dad's a criminal, so he's like tough, stuck in a hard place. He's like, I hate my dad, but he's still my dad. His best friend, Boyd Crowler, probably the best character in show. He's like it's like that childhood friend that you're best friends, but you hate him so much.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds a lot better.
And like Boyd Crowler's still around in season 5, which is amazing because he's my favorite character.
He is. He's everybody's favorite character.
He's just such an amazing character. And I found out that he was originally going to die in episode 1.
Yeah.
And everyone in the focus group loved him so much that they've kept him alive since then. And that's because he's amazing. And you just have to. And season 5 is still good. Like it's not one of those shows that goes up and down. It's just straight up. Boyd Crowler wins the show.
Because like in the first episode of the first season, his character's a neo-Nazi, but he's the most charming mofo of that whole group, and that's insane.
Yeah. And they were like, he was supposed to die. He had another contract to do other work.
He got shot.
He had other work to get to, and they're like, no. We need you back. We'll write filler episodes, and then just write entire new seasons all about you and Raylan, because
and that was the second
season. The show. You just make the show.
Amazing.
And then third season's amazing, fourth season, and fifth season, and now they're making a sixth season.
And that's the final season, though. I think the sixth season.
It's talk.
Oh, really?
But you know, they might always make more. You never know, because like everyone loves the show. It's amazing. Justified. Everyone should go see it. it's like a comedy Kentucky sheriff.
Really comedy? I would say it's more of a drama.
It's supposed to be drama, but like you laugh the entire
there are really
episode.
funny parts, though. There are really funny parts, though.
There are such great characters, and And season 5, the main bad guy, he was in season 4 also, is the black guy from Boston Public.
No, it's
Steve
not,
McBride?
No, sorry.
no, it's not the same dude.
What's his name? Michael Rappaport.
He's not black.
That's not. Oh,
Michael
Rappaport's
Rappaport
not
is the
black.
teacher, and he's white.
He's white with red hair.
oh man, I'm so.
Steve McBride is currently on Hawaii 5-0.
He's a fat black guy.
That's what happens when you get your facts off Wikipedia.
Oh man, no, I thought it was whatever.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Rappaport doesn't even sound like a black name.
A little bit.
man.
Well, no, I mean, I wouldn't. Michael Rappaport.
Sorry, I got confused between because
He's played very black-like characters.
Yeah, exactly. And he's been on.
I might have messed that up a little bit, but yeah,
fine.
it's just it's the gator farming people. They're amazing, and
I need to
Boy
get back on
Crowler's
it.
too good,
I think I stopped at season 3 or 4. I think it's 4. I need to get back on it.
Oh man, too good.
It's the Dixie Mafia and all that. Oh man.
Dixie Mafia.
Yeah, there's like some parts of it you're like, oh man, these guys are so hillbilly, and then there's other parts where it's like these guys are very professional and they're coming in to sweep it up.
Yeah, you got
clean it up.
the Dixie Mafia coming in to do it, and there's like I had Boy Crowler when he found God, and everyone's like, no, Boy Crowler can't
we
find
don't
God.
believe you. We
No
don't
way he
believe
can
you.
find God. And so it's like it's too good. I don't even know how to
I'm very
I can't
happy
even
to hear
describe
this.
it. It's
I'm
just
extremely happy to hear this, Keith. Thank you.
yeah.
I'm just glad you finally made a decision out of like how many choices.
There's so many things that you watch.
TV's really good.
And this one, it started like January 7th, so it ended way at the beginning of the year.
That's good.
My pick for 2014 is season 2 of the Goldbergs. Yeah, I was gonna say Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but that's Sebastian's pick. I'm gonna go with the Goldbergs.
I would say even ending of season 1 onward.
2014. Yeah.
The second half of season 1 onward is beautiful.
I mean, I enjoy it. I don't really watch. I'm not too big on hour-long shows because I don't have the patience for it.
Fall asleep.
Yeah, so it would have to be, a half-hour show. And
Those tend to be comedies more often
Yeah,
than
it's
not.
more often than not, it's comedies. And I am a huge fan of 80s culture, more so music, but Goldbergs is
Everything.
80s everything. It is your 80s family sitcom, not sitcom.
Yeah.
Well, I would like I described it earlier, way back a few episodes ago. It's the wonder years of this generation.
Yeah,
it's a look at the 80s through the millennial, I guess, eye of 2010 onward, the 2010s.
The director is Adam Goldberg.
It's basically his life,
His
but
life. Embellished them.
embellished.
So
exactly.
it's like a everybody hates Chris kind of deal. That's his story, his life story, and then embellished.
Yeah.
You have his mother.
But it feels more Wonder Years because it's about basically a family in the suburbs.
Yeah, you have the mother. You have the mother who's the helicopter parent, super protective of her children. She loves her kids. Anything happens to them, she goes straight to the school to complain about stuff.
And then she's banned from school.
Exactly.
So she has to go to the principal's home.
And then the dad who's lazy, but he works hard in the day, but once he gets home he's lazy. He doesn't want anyone to bother him, and he yells at everyone, calls everyone morons. You have the sister, because Adam in all this is the youngest.
Yeah.
You have the sister who's hot, by the way. She kind of just doesn't care, rebellious teen.
Well, she's your typical rebellious teen. So
It sounds
she
more
doesn't-
and more and more like the 70s show film for the 80s.
No, it's not like that.
And then you have the brother who's typical
Oldest brother.
middle child.
He's
He's just completely dysfunctional. This guy, he's the most.
He wants to be a rapper. He thinks he's good at basketball.
Yeah,
Is this the same season where the grandfather takes the son? He wants to take him to see the Great Mouse Detective, but he convinces him to go and see the
like a scary movie.
the scary movie. Not The Exorcist, the other one.
No, I
The
think
one
it's
that Steven
Nightmare.
Spielberg- No, the one Steven Spielberg did about the haunted house.
Wasn't that The Exorcist?
It's not The Exorcist.
No.
The one that's on the Indian burial ground, and the girl goes inside the TV. Never mind.
Anyways, then the kid gets spooked.
Yeah, exactly. Completely gets wrecked.
So it's fun. It's fun to see the relationships between these people in the 80s. And at the end of every episode usually have like a little clip.
Yeah.
And it's very relatable.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean,
You grew up mostly in the 90s and early
there's some very
2000s.
relatable things like
Yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner and your mom not letting you go out. It's a funny show with relatable content. That's not Degrassi.
And a lot of the...
I
yeah.
remember that time I got shot in the back saving my friend and I had to end up in a wheelchair?
Degrassi.
That's some real stuff, man.
Yeah, if you live in the inner city, I don't know. The show's still, like, Degrassi is still pretty hilarious just because it's still Canada.
Isn't that like suburbs of Toronto?
I know, but
Yeah, it
it's
is.
Canada, so it's just like, that's the crazy part.
No, it's because that one was because someone came to shoot the other guy because he stiffed him on some money because he was a drug dealer, and then Jimmy got in the way, and that's what happened.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, that doesn't really matter.
Tons of people get shot in Degrassi.
Surprisingly, not that often.
No, there was one episode where there was a guy
You're
that...
derailing.
Sorry.
Just saying Wendel is wrong. We'll look this up later, but Wendel's completely wrong.
Alright.
The guy was just
School shooting thing?
Yeah, school
Okay,
shooting.
my bad.
Oh, yeah, no, you're totally wrong.
Yeah, my
you're
bad.
totally
My bad.
wrong.
I can't remember now.
yeah, the guy was
It's
just,
just
the guy was
disgruntled.
crazy.
The guy with like the long hair,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's just
Good, we're
disgruntled.
keeping that. Wendell, you're wrong.
I admit it.
So Goldbergs.
Definitely good show.
Yeah.
That was a surprise, honestly.
Poltergeist. That was the movie that spooked him out. Poltergeist.
Yes.
That makes sense.
No, definitely Goldbergs. And just looking at what they're going to do in 2015, it looks like it's going to be a good season too. So it wouldn't surprise me if this got another season at least. So
Yeah, it could work.
So hopefully it doesn't go out a level of its welcome. I think it can maybe do 4 seasons before I think they need to like put a nip in that bud. But so far, definitely a great
Because
show.
everyone's gonna grow up. Adam is.
Well, it's like the timeline. There is no timeline because it's like it was this part of 1980 something.
Yeah, they never
say. But there's like one episode where the sister is like looking at colleges, and then at the other part she's saying, "Yeah, there's another 2 years before I have to go off to college."
Yeah,
and you're just like, "Okay, how old is everybody?"
all over the place.
So
They're all Time Lords.
So, yeah.
Jeez, that's not the answer.
Seb's mention was Brooklyn Nine-Nine, also another great show. And the beginning of season 2, they've been hitting out of the park every episode.
That's so good.
It seems you have flamed out, dirtbag.
Oh man.
So I definitely put that. I agree with that one. Also, like you said, Game of Thrones had a stellar season 4 this
They
year.
have a stellar every year. It's not fair.
I know,
It's just like an automatic win.
Yeah. So
So we all just named honorable mentions then.
yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, definitely a good show as well. I would say it was like a strong 2014 for it as well. So join us in the next segment where we'll be talking about 2014 movies.
Oh, really? Because I thought we're geeking out.
And we're back for the last segment of our 2014 year in review, and we'll finish it off with movies. So, Ali, what's your favorite movie of 2014?
My favorite movie of 2014 is gonna be Guardians of the Galaxy. It was a good movie.
I concur.
I agree.
Can't argue that.
I am Groot.
We are Groot.
It was definitely a great movie.
No, okay. I mean, it's a close I was gonna say Captain America: Winter Soldier. That's a close second to that, but Guardians of the Galaxy I feel was more accessible to everyone, and it was a more fun movie. We didn't know what to expect with it, and we got a movie that everyone enjoyed. The soundtrack
Oh,
that
the
everyone
soundtrack was
enjoyed.
definitely a big
And
part of that.
it was, really fun characters. It was all family movie, and I don't know anyone who watched it who didn't like it.
I agree. It was a lot of fun. The music was great. The action sequences were fun. It felt very much like the comparison. It was very much a Star Wars-like movie, but it still had its own identity, and the characters were awesome. It was definitely one of my favorites for the year as well.
But I think you nailed it though when you said we didn't know what to expect, and I think that's what made it work so much more. Like obviously if they didn't do a good job we wouldn't like it, but I think we kind of had we were already expecting Captain America to be good. We kind of expected that was going to go well. This we were like we have no idea if this is going to go well, and I think it just surprised us a lot more, and it was really good. And by far I think it's Vin Diesel's best performance.
No, Iron Giant.
No, not at all.
Oh, they have no heart, sir.
I love Iron Giant, but I think I the whole Groot thing is just it's funny how how much of a role it was, and it's just like, all right, there's 6
He
words.
stole
enjoy
the
it.
show.
No, so
Well,
did.
even Rocket Raccoon, I would say, stole the show. Kind of. Well, for me, I
think they all stole the show. I mean, obviously, except it's sad, and like Gamora doesn't get to do more. But Star Lord, very funny.
She gets
I
had a
would
little
not
bit.
say that Batista stole the show.
Oh, I think
Yeah, he did. I thought he
his
did.
first that comment he makes, it's like nothing went over in my head.
It's like, oh, his
My reflexes are too fast.
Why would I slide my finger across my neck?
Why would I slide my finger across his neck? No, it's an expression. That's a silly expression. Or when Star-Lord talks about they have sticks up their butts, he's talking about Footloose. He's like, who put those sticks up there? Why would they do that? That's such a cool thing to do.
Yeah. No, it was definitely a funny movie. There's a lot of good lines in there. Rocket Raccoon and Groot, I think, like, are the breakout stars. Funny enough, they're both like super CG.
Yeah.
I think the story was decent. I think some people had some issues with like, oh, it's your typical like the villain isn't do much kind of thing. But I feel like the villain was very over the top, and you didn't really need to know much other than the fact that he was just a racist bastard.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and he pissed off Thanos. So, yeah, definitely a fun movie.
I definitely want to give a quick shout out to Winter Soldier, because compared to Captain America 1, which was a period piece, World War II, and then you're coming out of the gate into this movie, you're like, oh, I don't know what they're going to do with this since he's in modern times, and they straight up go with a modern spy movie, and they also get, like we said before, Robert Redford in there, and he's done a lot of those movies in the 70s, and also Spy Game in the 90s, and I think that was a really good movie
It was
too.
way better than the first one. Personally.
It was better than the first one. It's not that the first one was a bad movie.
No.
This
I
one was
really-
just a lot better.
Yeah, this
in
one,
general.
and it kind of took Black Widow's whole different way of being a spy interrogation thing, being more overt, more out in the open with her hiding from people, and using more social tics of people to get around hiding people in the open kind of thing. I thought that was really interesting too.
I would say the two were different.
No,
Like
but I'm just trying to.
Yeah, but the whole Captain America, both movies were like, one, yeah, very period piece, but like it really built up like kind of like the origin story, while the other one was really like continuing with like what this individual stands for, what's he doing, why is he doing it, type of stuff. But definitely still a strong movie.
And probably the best fight scenes that have been shot and done in a American movie I've seen this year. Like, I was completely surprised by the action scenes and blown away by them. Specifically the fighting, the one-on-one fighting scenes. And that's as much as I have to say about that.
Before we go too far, I did want to say one thing about Guardians of the Galaxy. None of the villains get to monologue. Every time they're about to start something just extreme happens to them.
No, he gets
And
a
I
lot
love-
of his monologues out.
No. You have the part where the girl's about to monologue, rocket right to the face. The other guy is about to have a monologue, shit goes right into him. Right at the end, he's finally getting his time to monologue. What are you doing?
No, he monologues at the beginning. His first scene, he monologues.
No. But like when they try to later on, and just every time it gets cut off by like these extreme things.
No, yeah, the second.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Loved it.
The movie I'm going to talk about is the Lego Movie. And man, was that a surprise to everyone else but me. I knew going in that I was going to love this movie regardless of how bad it could have been.
Is it because you like Lego?
It's because... Thank you for stealing my thunder. Because I love playing with Lego, a Lego movie, and the first trailer, I'm like, there's a Lego movie? Awesome. This is probably going to be good because it's Lego. Then you see the trailer, and it's done in a stop motion kind of style where the Lego pieces move like Lego does in real life, and not like those Ninjago or Legends of Chima where they all have like fluid motion. These things move like Lego. Everything works like Lego does. Obviously, that ties into the later parts of the movie. This movie is just super well done. It's done to you by Lord and Miller. So they did 21 and 22 Jump Street. They did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Clone High
being one of their earlier things. So they definitely know how to put in references. They definitely know how to make them work. And they still give you a heartwarming, good story while poking fun at a lot of tropes and being just fun overall. Like the ending song, Everything is Awesome, which also happens to come in and play in the middle. Lots of fun. If you looked at the trailer, the song, because some people were like, wow, the music they're using in the trailer seems very poppy and like different. It's like kind of thing. And some people were just like, oh, well, that kind of soundtrack's gonna suck. But none of that soundtrack really none of that's there. It's all like, it's scored very nice. There's a very good motif of music, and it's just like all the fun craziness of Lego.
By the way,
movie form.
I think you should retract your favorite song from before. The Batman one in this movie is so much better.
I would not say that.
Darkness.
That one's a fun song.
No parents. So good.
Super rich kind of makes it better. That's a fun song too, but definitely Everything is Awesome because it's just like how everyone's singing along. It's like, I could listen to this, like you said, for 8.5 more hours.
So
cuts to 8.5 more hours later, and you hear the ending bit of the song, and you're just like, yeah, no, this is definitely a fun movie. The Lego designs are in it are pretty awesome, and I pretty much own most of them from this movie.
Did they sell a model kit of like the final form builder thing?
Yeah, that came out.
I need to get that.
Also, there's a spaceship the spaceship.
Benny's spaceship.
Benny's spaceship comes out in it too, the one he makes at the movie theater.
$150.
They're all on sale on Walmart like last week.
It wasn't $150.
Oh, now you tell me.
It was pretty.
It's okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Originally, when it came out,
Oh, okay, because I went to Walmart when I was in the States and I got it for like 80 plus tat.
it was 100 and something, if I remember right.
It was like 120, but I got it for 80 because it was like on sale that week, back in November. So
Spaceship.
so and the voice cast is just well done. Also, like from like it was the year of Chris Pratt, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Lego Movie on his record. It features other great talents like Elizabeth Banks, Annie from Community, Brie Larson.
I think so.
Alison Brie.
Alison Brie, sorry. I'm thinking of someone else.
Morgan Freeman,
and a bunch of cool cameos.
Will Ferrell,
So,
Will Arnett too.
yeah, Will Arnett as Batman, definitely putting him out there for one of the best Batman voices, second only to Kevin Conroy, obviously. But Kevin Conroy, eat your heart out. It's on his way.
Will Arnett's Batman's very much, to me, it feels kind of similar to Brave and the Bold one.
I think it's
but more douchey. Way more.
I think
douchey.
it's more a parody on the Christian Bale Batman than it is the Brave and the Bold Batman. I think it's just because he sounds a little bit more similar in his talking voice. But I think the whole point is that he's playing off as like the Dark Knight trilogy Batman. So great movie. Fun to watch.
With the cameo
definitely
of the
for
Millennium
everybody.
Falcon.
Yeah. Well, I was leaving that up to surprise, but yeah, there's a lot of cool cameos by a lot of fun characters and a lot of interesting voices. So definitely pay attention to that voice list in the credits.
It's also one of the best commercials ever because they just like explain every model kit they have available currently.
As much as the commercial, it's also very heartwarming.
My movie for 2014 is The Raid to Berendal. This is an Indonesian movie that's been ever since the first one came out. Everyone was very excited about the second one. Originally, the director and writer wanted to make this movie as his first movie. The studio said that they couldn't afford that, or they didn't know if it was going to do that well, so kind of pare it back a bit, and then he came out with The Raid 1, which was more a small enclosed movie of a group of cops of a SWAT team infiltrating a drug apartment complex, and they get trapped and they have to work their way to the top to get to the drug lord. So in the second one, it's the aftermath of what happens. One of the sole survivors finally comes back, gets brought into a undercover cop ring to infiltrate one of the two warring gangs. One of them is Indonesian, the other one is a Japanese gang. And so to find out what's going on with this corruption that's going on in the city that they have. And it's a really amazing movie. The cinematography is very striking. Colors pop. A lot of the times sometimes there's no dialogue, but you're seeing how the camera pans through and to tell this story. Also, it's a very physical story. There's a lot of amazing fight scenes. Human lives are pretty cheap in this movie. Like, it just, the way the fight scenes go and the way it's shot, like a lot of effort and time and love went into this movie. It's has probably the best fight scenes I've seen to date, straight up to date, and they look brutal, they look harsh, the stunt work is top notch, and surprisingly the story is extremely deep, almost like the Godfather kind of levels, with people fighting their way, fighting for power inside of the organization that the main character Brahma infiltrates and stuff like that. And there's just amazing characters where you have like the new boss it's almost like there's a part where they call out these top assassins to come and fight them, and then one guy has a bat, this other girl has hammers, and this other guy is more of an assassin. He has like a little sickle that kind of comes out of his fist a bit, and I was just blown away watching, and I was just quiet, letting the movie engulf me and just taking it all in. Definitely something you definitely have to watch. The Raid 2, Berendal.
This is a movie I got dragged into watching. I did not expect anything from this movie. I knew nothing about this movie. I was told Ben Affleck was in it, and I was like, ugh. I was pleasantly surprised. The movie's called Gone Girl. This movie is one heck of a head mess up. I want to be a little more polite with my words. But the movie starts out very kind of, it's just a nice, loving family. How they've grown to love each other and all that, and how they get how the romance works. And then it just gets twisted and like, oh, where'd she go? And then there's accusations to the husband, who's Ben Affleck, and it just keeps going. And like, I really don't want to spoil too much. But it gets it's one of those movies, like, you know, when you go to a movie, you're like, I really have to turn my brain off because I'm gonna figure things out before anything goes. And then I really thought it was like that as well, like, oh no, this is what's gonna happen, and it doesn't. And I'm like, oh man, what? And like, it really turns you left and right as to like you're expecting. Ben Affleck does a great performance, almost to the fact that he kind of just plays himself. So I think it works really well, but his character in the movie works really well as well. He's sincere. He has his relationship with his sister, and how like they're really like they work together through the problems that need to occur, and like he goes to her bar and just kind of like I think they play board games or something like that, just to like try to mellow out. But like it's such a good movie. The work in there, all the actors that are in there do a good job. It really is one of those movies where you really don't know what you're expecting when you think you do, and I think that's what works really well with it. And like, it's not like just one twist. It's like throughout the movie, like after like a half an hour, you're like, wait a second, and then another half an hour, you get like, what's going on, and like, and so on. The movie just does a good job with the characters when they come out, who you have. So if you really are someone who likes movies that are, it's got a bit of blood. I wouldn't say it's too gory, although some extreme scenes. The movie does such a good psychological kind of like, what are you going to expect? How is the story really evolving? And it's really one of those movies where I did not expect the endings that was going to happen. I went with a friend and I was like, oh, this is going to happen. And then at the end I was like, that's not what happened. it was so fun. Long movie. I think it was 2 hours and 40 minutes. So yeah, do make sure that you are you're kind of
prepared to see it.
Yeah, to make sure that you don't drink a full thing of beverage right off the bat and then like go, oh shoot, I gotta go to the washroom. You really have to watch throughout the whole thing.
The artist is also based on a book too, and the screenwriter was the author of that book as well.
Yeah, I think Sebastian mentioned that it was a book. I think he's read it.
And he enjoyed both the movie and the book as well.
So there you go, really worth it.
So, I tend to like B-rated things, as most people know. Some of it's more suspect than others. So, I went to Fantasia this year, which is Montreal's film festival, and saw a couple, and 2 movies really stood out for me. The first one that I think is slightly ahead of the other one is Dead Snow 2, Red vs. Dead. This is, of course, the sequel to Dead Snow, Ein, Zwei, Die. It starts off exactly where Dead Snow left off, with Martin in his car being attacked by zombie Nazis. He manages to escape and ends up in a small town where doctors find him covered full of blood, his arm missing, a severed arm in his car belonging to a Herzog, the leader of the zombie Nazis, and they reattach his arm. Meanwhile, Herzog remembers that his final mission before he died was to conquer a specific city, so he raises more Nazi zombies to attack the city. Martin tries to call for help by calling like the Zombie Extermination League, which is really just a bunch of Americans that are playing, like high school Americans that are like playing zombie killers. So they fly out to Norway, join up with Martin, and then they discover that Martin's severed arm, the zombie arm that was attached to his arm, could also raise the dead. So he raises an army of Russian zombies to fight the zombie Nazi army because they hate each other. And then it's an all-out comedic war between Russian zombies and Nazi zombies. And it's amazing. And the runner-up was Zombeavers, which is even more fantastic, where due to two people driving a bunch of chemicals on the road and not paying attention to the road, accidentally spilled the chemicals into a dam.
A beaver.
A beaver dam. Which causes the beavers to mutate and become zombie-like, hungry for flesh. The beavers seem to have a higher sense of intelligence. They know to cut down power lines, set up traps, and try to eat people. They're a bunch of bastards. The main characters are all American partygoers. It starts off with the girls are getting a weekend off because they were supposed to all go camping with the guys, and then someone broke up with one of the dudes, and they're like, it's gonna be girls' night out, it's gonna be totally fun. But one of the girls invites all the guys to follow up because she's a bitch and wants to get laid. Probably gonna have to get. And then hilarity ensues, and it turns out when you're a zombie beaver and you bite people, they turn into beaver zombies too. And it's a madness. And it's amazing, and it's gory, and it's hilarious, and it's super camp, and everyone should both see both movies.
Nope, you've explained that very thoroughly. I don't think I need to see either one of those.
If you're into that B movie kind of
Hilarious,
crowd,
amazing
then
B
yeah.
zombie movies, these are the ones.
Just
Zombeaver, Dead Snow 2, Red vs. Dawn.
Just a little warning.
Red vs. Dead.
Dead Snow 1 is more like a horror movie, and then Dead Snow 2 is more like a comedy.
No, Dead Snow 1 was also a comedy. It was just, Dead Snow 1 was in Norwegian with subtitles, and Dead Snow 2 is in
more,
English.
Yeah, it's more English.
But
No, it's
like
it sounds stupid, but
Dead Snow, man. I mean, they're both horror movies. They're just
I felt 2 was more
horror movies.
I felt it was more of a comedy, if anything. Like, not all comedy, but more.
Oh man! I mean, like that.
heartfelt ending.
Martin just
That
has the
heartfelt
worst day in zombie in Dead Snow 1. Just
That
the
heartfelt
worst.
ending.
Yeah, I
How many
mean,
times are you gonna say that?
I want him to acknowledge it.
it is. It's just like if I was having his day, I would just be like, no. And like Dead Snow 1, which came out a while ago, just to like, sure, you get the idea, is they're like, oh my god, they're zombies, and people are like, no one knows what zombies are, because it's sort of set in like today's time. And like, this guy gets bit in the arm, so he chainsaws off his arm because he's like, oh man, if it spreads, I'm totally gonna get to a zombie. So as soon as he done chainsawing off his arm, a zombie comes and bites him in the dick, and he's like, no! I don't want to cut that off too. And that was number 1, and number 2 is it's the perfect sequel to that movie with no V-Guard.
Ali wanted to mention Boyhood, but he's asleep. No, he wanted to mention Boyhood.
So Boyhood, check it out. It's a movie that was filmed over 12 years, and I've heard good things about it.
Ooh, Birdman. Definitely shout out to Birdman.
The Muppets Most Wanted, actually. I'll throw that out there as a fun movie that, for a sequel, it was very much more of a Muppets movie, and it was a lot more fun than I thought it would be, and I definitely enjoyed watching that one.
John Wick.
John Wick.
Sorry, John Wick. Keanu Reeves kind of
I'd say his best movie.
a bit of a comeback, trying to
Even better than Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
nothing's better than Bill and Ted Excellent. It's the bogus journey.
The excellent.
As long as he gets to play against death.
It's so good.
Best 13 out of 25.
Oh, come on, man. I guess
Edge of Tomorrow? I haven't seen it, but I've heard good
Edge
things
of
about
Tomorrow
that.
was really good. Oh my god.
it's kind of just to bring it back from what we've already discussed before, but Interstellar.
Oh yeah,
It has to be said. It was a good movie. It's at least one of those movies that you just need to watch.
No, it's definitely, you should see it at least once, maybe several times if you need to understand it. But it's definitely not, how would I put it?
It's not The Interview.
It's not a movie you go in lightly to see,
That's
but it's
2015.
still a fun movie.
No.
So-
Did we just already
It came out Christmas.
Yeah.
Technically.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
get it.
Oh, I guess it is.
Hollywood was
2014.
definitely pushing it as the movie of the year.
No, don't go see the interview.
Watch it on Netflix.
When it
It's not
comes
on
out.
Netflix yet.
It will probably be not for another little bit because it didn't get like distribution, so it'll probably be VOD for a bit. Otherwise, nah.
Just wait till they drop that at DVD sales, and that's just
Also for Kevin,
$5
I'm surprised.
at the Dollar Cinema.
And for Kevin, I'm surprised you didn't mention How to Train Your Dragon 2.
not as strong.
Oh, okay.
I found the first one was stronger.
Okay.
I heard a lot of people like the second one way more, but that's what I heard.
It's definitely a lot more family heart. Like there's a lot more like family orientation to it and stronger. But I found a lot of the scenes kind of repeated themselves a bit with the first one, and the story kind of dragged on a bit. I liked it, but not like one of the stronger. I would say Big Hero 6 was stronger than How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say my last two mentions, I guess, before we wrap this up, is Big Hero 6.
Yep.
Because that was a really fun, good movie. And my second one, which I just had it, and I can't believe I forgot it. Oh my gosh, what was it?
Hobbit.
Yeah, The Hobbit, thank you. Definitely another one of my favorites from 2014. Closing out a trilogy, and we discussed it in the last episode. Mixed opinions, but definitely a fun movie in my opinion, and it was one of my favorite for the year. Those were our picks for 2014. Let us know in the comments or in emails or on our Facebook page.
Or
what
Twitter.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Not on Twitter.
Don't Twitter.
That's too many tweets to get. Let us know on our Facebook page what your thoughts are. Fine, you can let us know on Twitter too. What your thoughts on
who's right.
you can tell us which host you agree with more.
Hashtag 2014.
Yeah, and what you liked about 2014, and tell us what you thought of 2014 in all the different terms we've discussed. Join us in the next segment where we will give you our info.
So that you can write us those letters about who's right, what's your favorite 2014 stuff.
And it's not Keith.
Of course it's Keith. What are you
It's
talking
not-
about? Back off!
It's definitely not you. And that was episode 8 of Geeking Out at the Tower podcast. Today we discussed 2014 and the things that we liked from it, and some of the things we didn't like from it. So as usual, you can join us on iTunes, so look for us, Geeking Out at the Tower podcast. You'll find us there, subscribe. It's always great to get more subscribers. And as usual, you can send us an email at goattcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at GOATTcast. You can also find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/GOATTcast. You can also... Oh, wait, we did not create that Instagram, which I was told you were going to get a long time ago, so you cannot find us on Instagram yet.
Blame Seb.
What about snail mail?
You cannot send us snail mail because that is archaic and no one does that really anymore.
I want free stuff, so we're going to set that up too.
Also, we don't have a P.O. box yet. That's pretty much it.
Box.
I don't think we're ever getting a P.O. box.
Yeah.
So...
I'm not paying for that.
And as usual, you can find all this information and many more, such as old episodes and our fun stuff about us at our website at goattcast.wordpress.com. I was your host, Andrew, and today I was joined by...
Ollie.
Keith.
Kevin.
Wendel.
And it goes to Seb.
Thanks for listening and have a good time. Did I forget to record that?